special golfing property. This is Bonnie Doon Golf Club, just 15 minutes from the centre of Sydney itself. Prime in the centre of the Sydney Sandbelt, a sporty, short course by modern standards, some short attacking par fours, some long tough ones as well, and some reachable par fives. It's a tremendous host venue for the second edition of the Players Series. This one brought to you by Braithen Astor for Cisco WebEx. Hi everybody, Warren Smith alongside Christy Dixon and Nick O'Hearn to bring you all the action of round 3 from Bonnie Doon Golf Club. And well, we are in for a fun day watching some of the best men and women in the country take on this terrific layout.
I can't wait to see the young amateurs come in this weekend and really try and go with the pros and see how they go, test their game.
Nick, let's take a look at the format once again. If you haven't seen the Players Series before, the first one was at Rosebud Golf Club. It's exactly the same second time around.
Yes, it's a very innovative new tournament series by the PGA and WPGA. Both men and women competing in the same field, so unusual, and they're playing for the same prize purse. Same pars, but scaled tees.
And wow, what an event for these juniors. They get to play alongside the pros in a separate competition over the weekend and really test their skills. What an experience.
Well, as it was yesterday, the southerly was in. It's blowing hard again today. It will be tough out there on the course. And to tell us more about the course, Ewan Porter and Hermione Fitzgerald are standing by for Tag Heuer Golf.
Yeah, thanks, Woz. Here with Hermione Fitzgerald. And Hermione, you're a member here. Isn't it so terrific to see Bonnie Doon get the attention it so richly deserves this weekend?
Absolutely. This course has seen a major overhaul over the last few years, and it's great to see it played in brilliant blue sunshine and with and great conditions to boot.
Well, even for the men, this golf course measures under 6,000 metres. So by today's standards, that's very, very short. But over the first couple of days, it really has held up to the test.
It has. It was really gusty here yesterday afternoon. Certainly made it challenging for the players teeing off in the afternoon section.
Well, an interesting leaderboard. In the top 15 players, there's 4 players over the age of 45, and there's also a handful of players under the age of 25. In your opinion, why do you think it's, I mean, there are so many different players and different styles of players being able to contend?
Well, I suppose the short game's so important around here. The greens are tricky, many undulations. It's not just a power game needed here at Bonnie Doon.
Well, Woz, it's a bunched leaderboard, and I know on behalf of both Hermione and myself, and I'm sure every golf fan out there, we're looking forward to the action this weekend.
Thank you, Ewan. Thank you, Hermione. Looking forward to your comments throughout today and tomorrow in the final round at Bonnie Doon. Here is the leaderboard. Charlie, Dann and Peter Wilson on top at either end of the spectrum as far as experience, Nick.
Certainly is. Yeah, we've got some very bunched leaderboard. 7 players within a shot there. Blake Collier, a fine young player from Victoria. Got a bit of a soft spot for Jordan Zunik there from New South Wales. There's also a Bonnie Doon member, which is going to really help him over the course of the tournament. A couple of veterans you can see there, Matt Millar, Peter Lonard. You can always look out for Peter Lonard playing well.
And Elvis Smylie, wow, what a start for his pro career. First event and he's on the leaderboard.
He is right at home, as he showed, of course, at Rosebud Golf Club, where he almost won the first Players Series event as an amateur. Now, let's go back down to Ewan Porter, who's standing by on the range with Charlie Dann down there on the Titleist range.
Well, Charlie, 11 under par through 36 holes. You've only had 1 bogey. You've played the course in a north wind and the more difficult south wind yesterday. That's some pretty impressive golf.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how I've plotted my way around the golf course. Both wind conditions, I think the southerly suits me a bit better. But, you know, there's some downwind holes, there's some into the wind holes, and the north and southerly winds just play opposites. So it's good for the course planning, and then it's going all right.
Well, you've had a little bit of form coming in here, a couple of top 20s down in Victoria, so obviously feeling fairly confident coming into the week.
Yeah, I did a lot of work through COVID. I did a lot of practicing. I stayed pretty busy, so it's nice to see my results like improving from the get-go from this year. And yeah, I've been trending getting sort of better and better as we go. So I'm looking forward to playing a few more events for sure. Yeah.
Well, the name Charlie Dann, it may be unfamiliar to some people, but those of us that know you know how well you play, and you're a top 50 amateur in the world. You won the Master of the Amateurs and the Mandurah Amateur. So those wins and those top performances, how much can you draw upon those experiences here this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try to. I haven't been in this position, so I'm nervous and I'm excited for what it's going to be and the challenges I'm going to have. And obviously, I think winning at that amateur level is a great achievement, but it's different out here. So I'm looking forward to learning what happens today in my mind and how I can deal with it, and looking forward to just keeping to the same game plan I've had.
We're looking forward to watching you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Charlie Dann in our final group of round 3, and at the moment he's been surpassed by Blake Collier. Another of the golfers out of the Victorian Institute of Sport production line has 2 under today through his opening 7 holes, having just made a birdie on the par 5 7th to take a 1-shot lead over Charlie Dann. Dale Williamson is there in 3rd place, joined by the local Jordan Zunik. And there's the familiar name Matt Miller, who's been on plenty of leaderboards over the years, Nick.
He certainly has. Mr. Consistency is what Matt's all about. So we'll look for him to really make a push throughout the weekend. Peter Lonard's just gone birdie eagle to get back to 8 under for the tournament after a slow start. The one thing about this golf course is the first few holes are quite difficult, and they can make some birdies after that first 4 or 5 holes.
Now here is Charlie Dann at the par 5 7th. Very reachable. Down breeze, especially so. The pin today, this putt for eagle, just bending away to the right-hand side there, but should be able to make that one, you would think, for a tap-in birdie 4 to once again rejoin Blake Collier. Speaking of Blake Collier, let's go to the short uphill par 4 8th. Pin today on a bit of a dish on the left-hand side of the green, and this for birdie. A long ranger going over the ridge and then down the slope.
Sit. Come on. I thought that was hammering.
Well, that's a beautiful roll. The 8th hole is very reachable for a lot of these young, long-hitting pros. I know I couldn't get there. And Warren, I know you're a local Bonnie Doon member. Have you ever had a crack at this one, the 8th hole?
Yeah, it's just beyond my reach, I've got to say, Nick. I can go close at times, but usually just a little bit short. That potentially for birdie there for Collier. Back over to 7. And Dann with a 2-putt birdie there at the par 5. Yeah, this very special down breeze, this hole especially reachable for some of the players with 3 woods, drivers for some of those who, like Charlie Dann, aren't the longer hitters in the field this week. And you can pick up shots 7, 8 and 9 all playing directly down breeze, 2 reachable par 5s and a short par 4. You could pick up 3, 4 or 5 shots in a heartbeat.
Unlucky there.
I mean, that was Jai Halls, one of the junior players in the field this week as far as the junior section of the event is concerned. Great to see the juniors, as they were at Rosebud Golf Club in the Player Series, brought to you by Jeff Ogilvie. That was a great success, tremendous vibe and atmosphere down there at Rosebud, and no doubt the weekend action here at Bonnie Doon will be just the same. To the recently turned professional, in fact, his first event, Jack Thompson.
Oh, beautiful roll there from Jack. Give him some confidence. Yeah, we've had a few young pros. This is their first event. Elvis Smylie, who has had some really big raps. Doughy Choi from the women's side, and Jack Thompson, who's a fine player out of the Grange Golf Club there in South Australia. Look for him to make a good push this weekend. Jai Hall's just cleaning up. Plays out of the New South Wales, and I believe it's the Mollymook Golf Club as well. So an outstanding young player there, off a 3 handicap.
Yeah, mate, listening.
Just down there on the south coast. There's a picturesque track, Mollymook. It brings us to Blake Collier, who it looks like he's going to be leaving the pin in, which is interesting given how much breeze there is and the flag just moving around slightly in these conditions.
Righto, mate. Good 4.
Yeah, I've never liked leaving the flag in myself. I quite enjoy having it out, just watching that ball drop in the hole. It's like ice in a glass, I think.
Let's hear from one of our juniors, one of the stars on display here this weekend at Bonnie Doon with Hermione Fitzgerald, is Brielle Mapano.
I'm here with Brielle Mapano at Bonnie Doon. And Brielle, we've actually got history here, haven't we? You beat me here in the major pennant a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that was a good match. Hermione took me down to the 18th, and it was good. It was a good match. Yeah.
Yeah, and Brielle made a lot of birdies on that round, particularly on the back nine. So I hope you do plenty more of these today. How's your game?
It's okay at the moment. A bit scratchy, but hopefully I'm excited for today. So hopefully some good shots and birdies out there today.
How's your practice been going? Are you doing many hours after school?
I guess in year 12 it is kind of hard to go after school, but I guess daylight savings does help. I try to get to the course and stay there for about 2 hours.
And are you doing your homework too?
Oh, I try my best, yeah.
Well done. Have you had a practice round here this week, or are you going to use your memories of playing me in the big match?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play the practice round, but I did play here for major pennants a few weeks ago, so still kind of fresh in my mind. So yeah, always enjoy playing here.
Well, wishing you the very best of luck, and most of all, enjoy it.
Thank you.
Can you imagine how exciting it must be for those junior players, Christy, to be out there in action playing with some of the stars of the Australian scene?
Oh yeah, gee whiz, what an experience for these young guys and girls that have come out here to play with the professionals.
Now, Shae Wools-Cobb at the par 5,
Wow,
ninth, rolls it in for eagle.
He had a fair bit to work with there was to get that one in the hole.
Yeah, 3 very much on the cards there at 9, but I guess not in that fashion.
Wow.
Queenslander picks up 2 in the blink of an eye. So the race is on. It'll be fascinating to see what sort of winning score we have this week. Predictions of mid-20s at one stage. I don't know, we'll get there. I think maybe the high teens, maybe 20 under par might be a winning score. Certainly through the run of 7, 8 and 9, that is the real scoring part of the course with the southerly as it is. This is Andrew Evans, Bonnie Doon member, and the putter might have run out of batteries.
As you say, 7, 8 and 9 here at Bonnie Doon. I was just looking at the stats, and 37 eagles over the first 2 days. That's some golf by these players. You can really get after those holes and make some inroads on your scorecard after what is traditionally a pretty tough start with the strong par 4s to begin.
Andrew played his junior golf at Bexley Golf Club. Traineeship there, working some shifts at the Coast Golf Club to make ends meet while everybody's at loose ends with COVID lockdowns in different parts of the world, and so many of our domestic players pretty much landlocked here in Australia. So it's do your best and try and keep the dollars flowing in, and Andrew's finding ways to do that, apart from playing in the Players Series and then Queensland Open and New South Wales Open beyond that at Concord Golf Club in Sydney.
A lovely roll there for birdie. And a fellow trainee pro. I did my traineeship many, many years ago, and it's not the ideal path to professional golf if you want to play for a living, but you certainly learn a lot about the game and teaching aspect and how to run a golf course, basically. But it's a great path into the game of golf, and the PGA does an amazing job. As we watch Travis Smythe on the 8th tee, that short par 4 we were just talking about, and he's hit a beautiful 3-wood.
Oh, hits the flag and finishes up 4 or 5 feet from the hole. I was about to say that the 8th, given where that flag is today, is a chance for a hole-in-one on the par 4. Let's take a look at it. Slightly uphill from the tee. You drive it over the sandy waste there, which doesn't come into play, and the pin today tucked on that left-hand side, Nick.
Yeah, it's a beautiful short hole. Gives you options. You can lay it up short of these bunkers here, but straight downwind, all these players are going to be having a crack. Very accessible pin on the left-hand side. One place you don't want to go is left, in those very, very deep bunkers where you're going to have an issue trying to get up and down. But what a shot by Travis Smythe. Absolute middle stump by the looks.
Good friend of Travis's is James Grierson, Bonnie Doon member, and now professional for a couple of years after having a great amateur career with former New South Wales state captain. On the opening day of the par 4 8th, Grierso opened it with a hole-in-one.
Wow.
3 wood for a hole-in-one the first day it was open.
Wow. And Travis Smyth will have that for eagle, which will put him in joint leading with Blake Collier and Charlie Dann.
He's playing alongside Josh Younger and Daley Lamanus, the junior in the group. You can see as they walk up the hill here the difference in elevation between the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Now, what I can tell you is that on course, information coming through that was a provisional played by Travis Smyth after, from what we can see there, it looks like he might have blocked his original tee shot to the right-hand side. You can see a bunch of people over there maybe looking for a ball. So, yes, that... well, it still could be a par if you can't find it. If you can't find that tee shot. He's got that putt for par.
That's right.
Fascinating way to make a 4 at the 8th.
How'd you make par at 8? Well, I just hit a 3-wood and knocked it in for tap in 4. Easy.
Imagine if it had gone in, he would have had it for birdie if they don't find the ball. Would have gone in for birdie for a hole-in-one, an albatross.
That would have been something. Now, this is Daley Lemanis. Again, a number of the local players getting a chance amongst the junior ranks to be out there plying their trade over the weekend. Daley plays at St Michael's Golf Club. His favourite golfer is Justin Thomas. Fair man to model your game on.
Yeah, he's got a very similar build to Justin there as well, I think. If he swings at anything like JT, he'll be have a very good career ahead of him. Plays off a 2 handicap at St Michael's, as you mentioned. One of his strengths as a golfer is his short game, and he'll need to use every part of it right here with a wedge in hand.
Pretty thick over there on the left-hand side of 8, and done the right thing by getting it up on the same level as the green. He'll have a difficult 2-putt there, or maybe a little bump and run for his 3rd shot to try and make par. Now there is Travis Smyth. Looks like he's found his original tee shot. So he's lying 1 just inside the tee tree. If he has a swing, there's some green to work with, and he can use the slopes to try and get this on the same quadrant as the pin today.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not playing that one. I'm a lefty, so I'd have no shot. He's got some sort of a backswing, so we'll see what he can do. Maybe sneak it over that bunker.
While he sums it up, let's go ahead to 9. Blake Collier with a predicament here at the par 5. Rules official Graham Scott on the scene there, just advising Blake as to his options, and it looks like he's taking an unplayable, maybe back on the line there from where his ball was unplayable. So playing his 3rd into the par 5. As the sponsor sign blows over behind Travis Smyth, gives you an indication that the breeze may be freshening here at Bonnie Doon this afternoon.
Definitely looks like it's picking up that wind. That flag is really blustering now, so it's just going to get a bit more difficult, I think, as the day progresses.
Travis will land this, I imagine, around the edge of the green, just trying to get it to feed on the slope down to that same section as the flag. Need to time your swing to when the breeze is blowing the branches the right way for you. Oh boy, he must have been really restricted there, because well, that's a half shank.
Well, yeah, I think that was the direction he was playing in, but he's probably wishing he never found that first ball now.
So drama for one of our contenders here, the top of the leaderboard at 10 under, 2 back. speaking of our leaders, let's go back to one of them, co-leader Blake Collier, with his own issues at the par 5 ninth.
Yeah, a feature of the bunkers you find around Bonnie Doon is that real long grass around the edges. And, you know, 1 metre either side, you can be quite good. And unfortunately, if you're right in the middle of it, then it's a real issue as we watch him just take his drop with the new rule. They're all dropping from knee height. I know when the rule first came in, I decided to drop it from shoulder height and whoops, 1-shot penalty. Away we go, just completely forgot.
That's a tough way to learn. On the bag today for Blake Collier is the very well credentialed David Micheluzzi, who unfortunately missed the cut here at the Players Series by Braithen Astor this week at Bonnie Doon, but a handy man to have from a former state team member in Blake Collier.
Rain goes on like an angle from this angle.
Well, the boys working out their numbers and angles there to Travis Smyth at 8. Playing his third, and that will be awkward coming up for his fourth down a bit of a marble staircase.
Yeah, he was buried under the lip there. You could see him really going at it with all his might there. Come back to Blake Collier. He'll be playing his third shot after an unplayable lie. You take 1 penalty stroke, and now he's playing 3. The good news is he'll be able to get home from there and hopefully salvage some sort of a score. The pin on 9 today is back left, so he's got, at least he's got a good angle coming in from the right-hand side there.
His line will be pretty much over that tree you can see between himself and the green there. Down breeze, still very reachable quite obviously, but when you come to 7, 8, 9, you're looking to really pick up, well, 3 shots if you can. Birdie, birdie,
Yeah,
birdie would be great.
You
At
think
least 2, if not 3.
I'll just go see the tallest light in the middle of the green.
Yeah, I'm right of the 4 people. Yeah, just right of them. Yeah.
And he's got a blind shot here because they're trying to line him up with the lights behind the green to get the right angle into the pin. So it's a bit of a guessing game, I think.
A third shot for Blake Collier. And he'll just avoid falling down into the trap at the front left corner of the par 5. So work to do for his par. Well, here is Travis Smyth, who I mentioned has to come down a couple of steps here once he gets onto the green to where the flag is at the par 4 8th. And he's pulled out the lob wedge, and he would now regret that.
Interesting choice of club there. What would you have done there, Nick?
A lot of it depends on the lie,
Yeah,
to be honest.
true.
I think he was trying to just carry it all the way, get rid of some of the mounds that was in front of him there and get it close, but it just didn't quite work out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So while they wait there on the green, they're going to call up the players who've been waiting some time here in our final group of the day, including Charlie, Dann and Peter Wilson. And Ewan Porter is with this group.
I certainly am. It's great to be out here. Charlie Dann, this hole playing 270 metres today. It's 255 to the front edge. Charlie has 3 wood, straight downwind. On a really good looking line. Is it going to skip up there?
Ends up just short, little swale in front of the green there. No problems for Charlie though. Quite
Tough
obviously.
start for Peter Wilson. Sorry, tough start for Pete. Was 3 over par after 3 holes. He's not quite as long as Charlie, so he has the driver out. Good opportunity these next couple of holes to make amends, but this one's going left towards the long grass.
Well, dug its toes in pretty quickly and sits down there, so that's a real break for Peter Wilson. one of our overnight leaders. Unfortunately, dropping off the pace here in round 3. Now up at the green, this is another Victorian, and Josh Younger. Began his career at Bacchus Marsh. Dare say this is his 3rd coming up. Awkward to hit it there off the tee, just on the collar of rough above the bunkers. Delicate one here to try and get up and down to save his par. First off though, Travis Smythe. Down the slope now, bending left to right. That for bogey. I might have caught a piece of the hole, but it will be, at best, a double bogey 6 at a hole that you can reach with a 3-wood. And that will smart. Now, Blake Collier playing his 4th shot here at the par 5 9th. Plugged in the face of the bunker off the tee. Ooh, runs it past some distance as well. So some stumbles here at the scoring holes for our leaders.
Yeah, those downwind holes, if you don't take advantage of them, you feel as though you're giving up lots of shots to the field. Josh was a little hasty on that little putt across the side of the green there. He'll have a bit of work coming back for his par.
It's a tough start at Bonnie Doon through the first 5 holes, 4 of them playing directly into the southerly today. So if you can get through there and even par or thereabouts, you've done very well. And you turn the corner at 6, the uphill par 3, and then it's straight down breeze 7, 8 and 9, 2 of them reachable par 5s, and you catch your breath and say, put the spinnaker up and let's go and pick up some shots. But it hasn't worked out for a number of these players at the top of the leaderboard, and Josh Younger is also going to drop a shot at the 8th.
Yeah, that one will sting. Short par 4s reachable, walking off with more than a par. But he's been around a while on tour, 12, 13 years now. Won the 2019 New South Wales Open, so he has the experience to stay calm and realise there's plenty of holes left as we watch Daley Lamanus. Nice roll.
And his fellow St Michael's Golf Club member, Travis Smythe, started the day at 10 under par. Remains there at the moment, but he's about to drop at least 2 shots.
Well done.
So something of a mini disaster, and yes, that one is destined for the tea tree. Let's go back, or ahead rather, to the par 3 11th, and Jordan Zunig, Bonnie Doon Golf Club member, multiple time winner on tour. Pin today on that left hand side, Nick, and must have looked good off the tee, that tee shot. He's right over the top of it.
Yeah, that was lovely touch. I'm sure you've been there a couple of times as we go back to the 8th hole.
This is Brielle Mapano, the junior player in our junior player series events this weekend at Bonnie Doon. And she's in a lovely shot as well.
Great shot there.
What Travis Smythe or Josh Younger would have given for that.
That's the other way to play it, is just to lay it up short and then wedge it on close, tap it in for birdie, move to the next.
Well, it puts it in perspective, doesn't it, if you play it smart like that sometimes. It looks...
Back to 9. Blake Collier, this for par. Oh, and that's not exactly a tap in either for bogey. The 9th playing 434 metres only, straight down breeze. It's caught Blake Collier out. Now Peter Wilson with that snappy hook off the tee. Got lucky.
It's a tough angle to come in from today. The left-hand side. Just no green to work with. Uphill. 50-metre pitch or so. You just can't get any spin on the ball, unfortunately. Blake Collier tapping in for bogey. And no. Well, that'll feel like 3 drop shots there on such a short par 5, but again, he's got a very good head on his shoulders, Blake. One of the nicest guys on tour. Nothing too much phases him usually, so he'll get back on track very quickly, I'm sure.
Charlie Dann's second, Ewan Porter.
Yeah, well, he's left this in the best position possible to chip from. Was perfect lie coming downwind. You can land it about halfway up the green, let it release up there.
That one sounded
These greens are drying out.
Yeah.
Sounded a little thin, that one. Didn't quite get the spin on it, but still has a good look at birdie.
To 11, the par 3, Jordan Zunik. This for a 3. Nicely held, confident looking stroke that.
That was a great up and down. That was a really tricky bunker shot coming down that slope.
So we go back to 8. And you mentioned the angle that Peter Wilson had there, Nick. Real feature of the redesign by what was the firm of Ogilvy, Clayton, Cocking and Mead, which began back in 2011 at Bonnie Doon. Of course, went through 4 stages of redesign to the great layout that it is now. And the par 4s, the short ones in particular, made much wider than they were. Some lines of paperbark trees were taken out. The 8th is a case in point. And so many options now off the tee. You can attack, you can lay up, you can go left, you can go right. So many different ways to play those particular holes. And it's, well, some of those options you can attack and pay the price, as we saw with Travis Smythe a moment ago. Charlie Dann there with a birdie putt coming up. He was a co-leader. Now he's an outright leader, one clear of Jordan Zunik, who just made his par at the 11th. Andrew Evans is also there. 2 Bonnie Doon members side by side there, along with Shae Wools-Cobb, all just 1 stroke back in this 3rd round of the Players Series, brought to you by Braith and Astor at Bonnie Doon Golf Club.
When I was young, I was only 12 or 13 years of age, and my dad actually bought a house on Rankin Golf Course. I'd never hit a ball in my life, and then I got addicted to it. But within a year or two, I jumped the fence every day. I got my handicap down to about scratch when I was 15, and I loved the sport. I played in the Jack Newton Foundation, and then I played in a few of the state development squads with Aaron Price and James Nitties and Ewan Porter and those guys, and played in the Australian Championships against Baddeley and Scott and those guys who were obviously another level. But I love the sport. I gave up league for a year when I was 16 to play golf and concentrate on it, but ended up with a contract with South. But I fell in love with the game of golf at a very young age. About 3 years ago, I was working with Fox Sports, and I have even though we work hard throughout the season, we get 6 months off a year, and normally those 6 months coincides with the Australian Golf Tour, Australian Open, PGA, and all of that. And I was mentoring a few young kids anyway around the eastern suburbs, around this area, and I just, I was asking a few questions, and I just realised there was a bit of a gap in the market, or not so much in the market, but a lot of the golfers in Australia, unless you're the absolute elite, you're the top 2, 3, 4, 5 players in the country, man, woman, you can get left in no man's land. There's a lot of guys that just probably need that help in terms of putting a team around them, making sure they're mentally fine and have that support network, and giving these guys an option to be a part of a team, but also try and find them some sponsorship and endorsements and leverage, my position in sport. Yeah, the opportunity to be involved with the TPS is huge. When you're trying to support locals and Australians and women, both men and women, amateurs and juniors, and giving these guys a job pretty much and an opportunity to earn money and do what they love doing, it was just a no-brainer. It's been an eye-opener for me and a great experience, but really pumped for the week.
Fox Sports, Braithen Astor, the host of this second edition of the Players Series. We're live at Bonnie Doon Golf Club in round 3. Peter Wilson from the back of the green has judged the pace very nicely there with his third shot. Ahead to 9, the par 5.
A massive tee shot there by Travis Smyth, but the wind just got the better of him there, and that looks like a very interesting lie at the back as we saw the ball disappear on that long grass.
Yeah, there's some really long zoysia grass there at the back of 9. If you're a little bit bold, you can find it pretty easily, and Travis might have just found his ball on the edge of it. Back to 8. Here is Charlie Dann.
For birdie here. Yes, what a beautiful putt. That takes him to 3 shots ahead now.
Tip of the cap. He's had a conservative game plan over the first couple of days. Seems to be working for him again here in round 3. Well, Travis Smythe would have been thinking, yep, I dropped 2 shots, made double bogey there at the short par 4 8th, but I can make eagle here. The short par 5 9th and get them straight back. Instead, he's overcooked the approach. We'll wait and see what he's got for his third shot. Playing alongside Josh Younger and Daley Lamanis, one of the juniors who had a nice shady spot to play his third from.
A little bit of roll back at the end there. Nice little result. Couldn't quite get enough spin coming out of the rough there as we watched Charlie Dann tee off the 9th, straight downwind. Beautiful drive. I'll put him right in the go zone to second shot on the par 5, measuring 434 metres. So really it's, for these guys, almost like a long par 4, and downwind it's kind of a middle range par 4. A lot of them be hitting 7, 8 irons in there today.
Even less. Here is Peter Wilson.
Yeah, on that note, Nick, in the I know in the Pro-Am in the first couple of rounds here, players were hitting as little as a lob wedge here into the 9th hole.
I can only dream of that, Ewan.
So can I after a chip out. That's what I'm hitting. That's a perfect looking tee shot down the left side from Pete.
Yeah, Pete had a bit of a slow start. How's he been holding up since? Is he sort of holding things together as far as mental-wise?
Yeah, he is, Nick. I've actually been quite impressed with the attitude. I mean, Pete turned pro around when I did about 20 years ago, and I know we were both guilty of letting our emotions get the better of us, but certainly displaying some maturity out here today.
And playing with them, Brielle Mapano just clears the bunkers on that left-hand side of the 9th. So no trouble there for the junior as they wander up to their second shots. Let's go ahead to the green, and boy, it looks like Travis Smythe, his caddy Steve Walsh, overseeing things, has just caught the edge of that zoysia grass and it's stuck in it.
It's always a tricky shot too when you're right on that cut bit where it goes from the long to the short, because you just don't quite know how the club's going to come through and whether you'll get a flyer, or whether you know, if you don't trust it, you could potentially, you know, hit it fat. So you've just got to be really careful and trust your swing.
Need to keep the club moving through it because it's like glue.
Good call there, Warren. You can see it get stuck up, and
it's a pretty good shot really from there. I mean, it was a tricky shot.
it sounds as though you've been there a few times, Warren, by the way. Just
I've been everywhere
reference.
here, trust me. Not a part of the course at Bonnie Doon I haven't visited over the course of 22 years now. So Travis muttering to himself, coming unstuck at 8, and now with a longish birdie putt still.
Yeah, he'll be able to get a little bit of a read off Daley on a similar line here, putting for birdie. Coming down the hill, you can see how that race passed a little bit too far.
Almost straight down the fall line there, so Travis's putt maybe just might go a hair from left to right. One of those disturbingly straight ones as Josh Younger prowls his putt.
Yeah, they're the hardest ones, the straight ones, because you're looking for something in the line, aren't you? When there is a bit of break, they're much easier to read. So we watch Blake Collier's third at the 10th, and
stay there.
He might be playing his fourth from where he's standing, I'd say.
Might need to move out the way.
Yeah, long par 4 back into the breeze, so while they have a real eagle, if not birdie, chance there at the 9th downwind, they turn around, they play the par 4, which is pretty much a par 4.5 at least for most of the field today, given the strength of the wind.
And the southerly, I'm assuming, is the usual wind out there. You would know, Warren. And is that the more favourable one, or is it
pretty much either the straight southerly or the nor'easter? More the nor'easter usually in summertime, but we've had a lot of southerlies this summer through Sydney, and especially this week. It will swing around more to the east, perhaps southeast tomorrow, but for the moment it is testing once they turn back into it, as Blake was right there. Back to the 9th green. The man from St Michael's, Travis Smythe.
Yeah, this is one of those putts where after making double bogey, you'd really love to roll this one in just to right the ship a little and get the score moving in the right direction again. Beautiful stroke.
Really good stroke.
Yeah, you could tell halfway there that one wasn't missing. That's a very good backup birdie from Travis.
Second attempt here for Blake Collier, playing his fourth. Difficult pin today on the front right section of the 10th green. And he's staring a double bogey square down the barrel now. So since we've come on the air, there's been stumbles aplenty for all of our leaders who were doing it nicely through the opening 6, 7, 8 holes, some of them until they got to the scoring holes and something's happened.
It's one of those courses, though, it seems to me, Warren, like where if you do take it on and try and go for the green, that you could potentially end up with a double if you don't hit it in the right spot. Is that right?
It's all about angles, and there are some fine lines with some of the pins where they are, especially here in this third round. Brielle Mapano there playing her second. Doesn't seem overly impressed, and
I'll put it out.
if it finished there, that's why. Down there in the gully, just right of the ninth. Now Peter Wilson. He's second here.
172 to the
par
flag, Warren. 172 to the flag. Straight downwind. Want to land this somewhere in the middle of the green. Let it release up there. Ball a little bit below his feet. It looks like he's caught that a little chunky. Is it going to get there? It did. It did.
Ooh, chunky but nice.
It's a lovely shot there, pin high.
A chance at a 3 to pick up 2 shots for the veteran, whose daughter was a winner playing for Cranbourne in the Melbourne Pennants season for women just yesterday.
Apparently she, it was her first win in Divi 1 pennant, and it was on the 17th at Huntingdale. And she called Dad before the round, and I think that inspired him to have a good round yesterday.
Looks like Charlie's hit it quite a bit further than Peter there. Ewan, how far's he got?
Yeah, only 147 for Charlie. Pitching wedge in hand, heading about 8 feet right of the flag. Oh, nicely done.
He was staring that one down, Ewan.
Yeah, very steady golf so far from Charlie. You've been saying and mentioning that the leaders are crumbling ahead of him, but certainly no sign of nerves for Charlie at the moment.
Well, he leads by 2 with potentially an eagle coming up to really extend that lead and open up a gap between those behind him, including Dale Williamson and Elvis Smylie, who is now 4 under today and 11 under for the tournament. Just a couple of weeks ago, we saw the very first, the Athena at Coolangatta Tween Heads. Montana Strauss has been getting plenty of airtime in various forms in recent weeks, and there was a skills session on day 1, which led to some 3-hole match play showdowns on day 2.
It was just fantastic to showcase the ladies' professional scene here in Australia, and I just really thought it was fantastic combining the amateurs as well. Of course, Crystal Blum took it out and received an Adidas contract and $30,000, so she was pretty happy, I think.
There she is with a win in the semi-finals against Becky Kay, who almost holed out. We saw a moment ago in that highlight. And then Crystal Blum against Cono. Matsumoto, a 2-shot lead going to the last. And while she had a few nervous moments, she was able to tap in as the rain came down, but it wouldn't spoil the party. $30,000 payday for Crystal Blum, a real kickstart to her nascent professional career. Blake Collier, there's a good putt for bogey at the par 4 10th. Slides back to 9 under, currently 4 back after just literally moments ago he was a co-leader. Remarkable. Now this is Brielle Mapano. Plays her golf at the Australian Golf Club. There's a nice place to be a junior at.
She plays Division 1 pennant there. And from what I can gather, she practices really hard and puts a lot of time into her game, but also concentrates on her studies.
Speaking of studies, she says she'd like to go to college in the US to play for a Division 1 program. Well, she's missed the green there with her 3rd. Not a difficult up and down there to try and save her par.
Sitting up quite nicely, so hopefully she can get under the ball and playing it into the wind. She should be able to get that one close, hopefully.
A young player intending to go places with college on her mind. guess you can go either way, can't you? You can decide to turn pro with a pretty good 18 or 19-year-old out of high school, or maybe play a bit more amateur golf to get a bit more of a grounding, or you can go the college route to the US if you're academically capable, and if you're a good golfer, well, plenty of good programs over there would chase you down.
Yeah, the US college system is very impressive as to the quality of players they really produce over the years. I think the competitions just they play week in, week out lends itself to being just run for golf specifically, basically. And if you happen to study while you're over there, fantastic. But it certainly wasn't an option when I was coming up. But for these young players now, it's definitely worthwhile taking a look at. And she plays a lovely little chip over the hill.
Oh, well done.
Tap that in for the par and move to the next. Very nice. And Gabby Bruffels just turned pro recently there in the US after going through the college system. I don't think she finished the last year, given the standard of golf that she's been playing, but she can always return to the studies as they go along.
Yes, just onto the LPGA Tour, and a cut first up.
She did. And Sarah Kemp also finished 5th in the Gamebridge. First event on the LPGA schedule. So that was really exciting for both of them.
So here we are at the par 5 9th, and Peter Wilson, who was one of our overnight leaders with Charlie Dann, has gone backwards in a hurry today. Began double bogey, birdie, double bogey, par, then bogey. A little bit of everything thrown in. He steadied the ship over the past 3 holes, but would like to make this to pick up 2 shots and get it going back in the right direction.
Judging by the reaction, I didn't think that ball was going to go in. But 1-foot putts for birdie are always a good thing. So red number on the card. Not the ideal start to his Saturday as one of the joint leaders, but there's plenty of holes left to go. Charlie Dann, meanwhile, has this putt for eagle. He's been playing very steady golf over the front 9. 3 birdies, 1 bogey, and this putt for eagle.
Bit of a late bloomer is Charlie. Hails from Gympie, now resides at Broadbeach on the Gold Coast, as he's playing and practicing at Sanctuary Cove. Another nice place to spend some time working on your game. And a great read for a 3.
That's some front 9 he's had there.
Out in 33, 4 under par, and now has at least a 3-shot lead over Dale Williamson, who still has a couple of holes to play, who's been a big mover on round 3. Mapano, she taps in for her par in the junior event, as we take a look at the leaderboard as things stand. On the back 9 on Saturday at Bonnie Doon Golf Club, Charlie Dann leads by 3 in the Players Series by Braith and Astor, presented by Cisco WebEx as well. Elvis Smylie is looming. That is ominous given what we saw at Rosebud. They're the first Players Series event at Rosebud Golf Club. Louis Dobbelaar is there at 10 under, along with Andrew Evans, the Bonnie Doon member. And we mentioned the junior event being played this week, and we saw Brielle Mapano there just tapping in for her par. She's 4 over at the moment, 4 behind Blake Phillips, Christie.
Yeah, Blake Phillips is on even, and then we've got Jeffrey Pullen on +2. It's quite a tight little leaderboard there for the Junior Player Series. I think they're all probably a little bit nervous, so we'll just wait and see what they have in store on the back 9.
Yes, the breeze is up, but the sun is shining at the Doon on day 3 of the Player Series.
One of the unique features of the Players Series is the fact that the men and the women are competing against one another. And Graham Scott from the PGA Tour of Australasia is here to explain the scaling process, because Graham, I'm assuming some extensive research went into ensuring that it's a level playing field.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing for me, Ewan, is that there's no manual for this, so it was a pretty exciting task to be given to work on this.
Well, let's go and play it. Good luck, Hermione.
Likewise.
Okay, Ewan, so you've got 140 to the front, so you've got about 156 to the pin. And Hermione, you've got 141, which means you can have a go at the green.
Hopefully I can fluke one like the tee shot.
Yes.
Nice. Ooh.
Snooker.
Finish it off in style. Par threes are quite possibly the easiest ones to calculate as to getting the similar clubs. The par fours are going to be interesting because here we do have some drivable holes. The whole technique was, if the men can drive the green, or the longer hitters of the men can drive the greens, I've got to make it that the longer hitter of the girls can drive it as well. So,
yes.
So it makes it fair. And if they can't get to the green, then they've just got little chips and to hopefully make birdie.
Well, you've done a terrific job, and we look forward to an exciting weekend's action.
Great, thanks very much.
Thanks, Graham.
To our drive of the day, brought to you by tailor-made Sim 2. It was provisional, but it's still a great drive with his second ball. Look at this, Travis Smythe up the slope, bang, into middle stump, and it almost dropped in for what could have been, had he said, forget the first one, I'll take the second one, a birdie. Instead, he made a double bogey 6 to slide 2 shots back from our leader, Charlie Dann, and he's hanging on by the coattails at the moment. In fact, he's not there on the front page of the leaderboard anymore, Travis Smythe. Dann from Queensland leads by 3. And then Jordan Zunic and Shae Wools-Cobb are there at 11 under par. Peter Cook, Blake Windred at 10 under. With Louis Dobbelaar, who is having a very big February, March in his golfing life, having just won the Australian Amateur over there at Kooyonga in Adelaide. And he's showing what a talented player he is here by being on the first page of the leaderboard at Bonnie Doon as well in the Players Series by Braith and Astor, brought to you by Cisco WebEx. Jack Thompson, speaking of South Australians, there as well, having just turned professional, his first event as a pro this week. And Peter Wilson, one of our co-leaders. It's been a tough day so far for the veteran Victorian.
There on the leaderboard too. I think she's finished up at 6 under for the day, so hopefully she can come out firing tomorrow. Maddie Griffin and Ashley Hall, 6 and 5 under respectively, and then James Grierson on 3 under. He's from your Bonnie Doon Golf Club, yes?
Bonnie Doon Golf Club, originally from Forbes in the central west of New South Wales. 1 over today and 3 under for the tournament. There is Sue O, who of course finished up tied for 3rd in the Players Series event at Rosebud Golf Club. A couple over today in these breezy conditions. It has been a balancing act between the men and the women. And I guess you can always tweak things second time around. We'll wait and see what happens next year as far as that balance between the men and the women in this co-gender event, if you want to describe it in those terms. Doughy Choi recently turned professional herself from the Concord Golf Club. Brianna Gill is there as well. So 4 of the women, including Sue O and Grace Kim from Avondale in the north of Sydney, making the cut.
And Jordan Garner and Harrison Crowe, 2 really good young amateurs from New South Wales, are going really well too, making the cut.
And Simon Hawkes, former winner of the Vic Open at 13th Beach, there as well, having made the cut this weekend at Bonnie Doon. Blake Phillips leads by 2 at the moment in the Junior Players Series. Jai Halls, who we saw out there, 8 over through 10 holes, and Marco Perrin. He's also there at 9 over par.
And Max Fisher at 9 over. Emily Leong at 9 over, and Michelle Yang at +10.
Amazing experience for all these young juniors. Outstanding players from around the Sydney area to come out and play in a professional golf tournament on the weekend, feel the pressure, feel the conditions, and hopefully chat and learn from their playing partners. That's probably the biggest thing, is to actually try and pick their brains if they're up for it.
Let's check in with one of those junior players right now in Emily Leong.
Hi, I'm Emily and I'm a junior golfer at Bonnie Doon Golf Club, and what I want to be when I grow up is I want to be a professional golfer and a commentator. Now let's go and find some pros. Oh, it's Montana! I got some little tips on how to play this shot. So maybe you like putt it, maybe like hit it a little bit soft, because I think it's gonna go turn to right to left and a little bit left to right at the end. I think you'll definitely hole it because, you know, positivity?
Yeah.
You have to 24/7. Now you can just think that for a birdie.
Yeah. Do you want to putt it for me?
Yeah. Grace, what are you doing in the bunker?
Yeah, look, not my best drive.
You know, when on that Tuesday morning, I saw you on the range, but I was too scared to go up to you.
Why were you so scared? You didn't come up to me.
I'm too shy. Hi, Blake. I'm Emily.
Hey, how are you? You good?
Do you like the Bonnie Doon out here?
It's actually a true test, to be honest, and it's just picturesque too. Like, I've taken a fair few pictures maybe for Instagram
Really?
later. Yeah.
Oh, you can follow me too.
All right.
Yeah.
No worries. What's your name? I'll add you.
Follow Emily_92. My name's Emily. What's your name?
Kelsey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Emily.
What's your best part of your game?
Probably off the tee. I love the driver.
Yeah, so you can smash it, rip it.
Exactly right.
Try and get the club health off the stick.
Yeah, correct.
Make sure you get that over the shoulder shot. Did you get it? Did you get my good side? What do you think?
Well, that's a good question to ask me, but you're the pro.
I think a bit left to right.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Hi Emily, I'm Peter.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Just
you.
pumped. The first question is, after hitting so many golf balls, do you get a sore back?
Yes, but I am 100 years old, so it took me a long time to actually perfect the sore back.
What tournaments have you won?
A couple of Australian PGAs, a couple of Australian Opens, a couple of Australian Masters.
Really?
Yeah, so I've been around for a while.
That's so good. Am I giving you good content? Augustus! Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Emily, you can ask me whatever you like. I want some tips.
Oh, so you want to like work on your short game
Yeah.
because like putting takes like 44% of the game.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Putt for dough, right?
Yeah. Drive for show, putt for dough.
That's it. You're doing a good job too.
Yeah.
You want to be a commentator when you're on it?
Yeah.
You can work at Fox Sports like I do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'll get you a job.
Be your assistant.
Yeah, you can be my assistant.
Wow, 13-year-old Emily Leong, she is an absolute firecracker. And if golf doesn't pan out for her, our jobs aren't safe. She's a beauty.
Definitely not safe. She had it all covered, didn't she?
Boy, she can do it all. Plays off a handicap of 6, would you believe? So, a young lady going places maybe in the golfing world and also the commentary world. Here we are at the par 3 11th. Pin tucked today on the left-hand side, just behind the shoulder of the bunker. Daley Lamanus, also in the junior series, like Emily Leong, firing at the flag, and it might just feed back a little bit off the back shelf.
Lovely shot in there. That left-hand pin looks pretty difficult to get to. The wind's out the left, so that's making it even more difficult at the moment as we watch Josh Younger play his tee shot. 11th hole measures 163 metres today for the men. 131 for the women. That one's got a nice right to left shape. Hopefully just feedback off that slope. No, that one stays up there, so he's going to have his work cut out to get that one close.
That's going to be a really tricky shot, that one. With the slope there at the back of the green.
As they head over to the green itself, let's take a look at the first of the par threes on the back nine.
Beautiful par three. As I said before, 163 metres today. For the men, 131 metres for the ladies. Pins cut 15 on, 4 from the left. Pretty much where we see it on the camera there. Nice right to left ball flight working off the middle of the green. Certainly the right play. That back left bunker, want to avoid that one today, I'd say. A pretty tough downhill bunker shot. Three's always a good score. Play for the middle of the green. I'd say you got about a 20-foot putt. Roll that in, move to the next. What do you think, Warren?
The middle of the green is a very good play given where that flag is today. As you mentioned, Nick, on the left-hand side, protected by those bunkers. Let's go back to the par 4 10th, playing back into the breeze. And Peter Wilson, no, like Blake Collier, not that long ago, will get a do-over.
Must be something about the grass down there, perhaps, that's making it quite tricky for these guys. Well, putter option might be worthwhile from down there as well. I know many a club golfer that would putt that rather than chip it.
Some of the slopes off the greens, given how much rain there has been in Sydney this summer, a little bit of grain, and you can be back into the grain on occasion and maybe just stub the sand wedge or the lob wedge into the grain. Here is Younger from the back of the 11th.
Nicely done, a little bit of a double breaker, right to left, left to right. They're always the tricky ones to figure out which line to start it on. As we watch Peter Wilson attempt that chip shot again. He's got the same club by the looks.
Bit more aggressively through the ball that time around and just about hold it to save a par.
Much better effort there. That's the key on those chip shots, is just keep your rhythm, keep turning through the ball. Any hesitation and thin or chunks usually arise.
To one of our juniors, Daley Lamanis for birdie here at the 11th.
Beautiful putting stroke. Nice rhythm back and through. Speed is the key with putting for everyone out there listening. You have good speed, you're very rarely 3-putt, put it that way. You're always, with 3 putts, going to be 4 or 5 feet too long or too short, but you're rarely 4 or 5 feet wide. So if you have good speed, you're never going to 3-putt, and you're probably going to hole a few more putts too, because the hole becomes bigger as the ball's dying around the hole.
Worked pretty well for you for all those years?
Yeah, putting was one of my strengths, and I always tell people now, funnily enough, because I'm a left-handed golfer, but I putt right-handed now with a short putter.
I've seen.
Used a long broomstick. I've made the biggest change in the history of golf. I've said long left to short right. As we watch Travis Smyth down the hill. Tap that one in for his par. That won't be too bad a result.
What made you change?
Well, when they brought the anchoring ban in for the long putter, I didn't like unanchoring, so tinkered around with a short left-handed putter. Played 9 holes one day right-handed for a bit of fun. At Isleworth over in Orlando where I was living. Didn't play that great, but I had 14 putts for 9 holes. I thought, might be something in this. And I'm actually one-hand right-hand, so if I roll the ball to the hole, I do it with my right hand, not my left. So that motion with the putter feels very, very comfortable for me.
As it did right there for Josh Younger, who was able to get up and down from the back of the green. So we go back to 10, which is proving problematic for everybody at the moment, playing directly back into the strong southerly. Charlie Dann has this for par and a mistake, a rare one from our leader. And coming off a run of birdie, birdie, eagle through 7, 8 and 9, the scoring holes. Gives one back to the field there at 10.
It's been one of the toughest holes today. The 10th, 417 metre par 4, back into the breeze. Very, very strong hole. Probably averaging just over 4, 4.5 almost, I would think.
Seen looking down the one of the practice areas, putting green there beside the first tee at Bonnie Doon Golf Club. A beautiful afternoon, early autumn's day, just like Thursday. Blue skies, just a nice breeze to cool things down, and some hot action on the course for some players, while others have been throwing their anchor out and going back the other way. But it's in magnificent condition at the moment, this par 71 layout, a tick under 6,000 metres, so by modern standards that is very short. You don't see too many exclusively men's events played on courses of this length anymore, but as a men's and women's events, it's a pretty good venue to try and see some of the best of Australia's male and female players in action. On the tee, Charlie Dann at the par 3.
Lovely shot into the middle of the green. And you speak about the length of the golf course, Warren. I mean, I think one of the best defences for golf course these days is firmness in the greens, especially. If you can have firm greens, that makes the golf course that much more difficult to attack, because you have to put the ball in play then. You don't actually necessarily have to smash it and bomb and gouge it around, as we see so much. I think a lot of American golfers now, when they have a course over there where the greens are firm, they tend to struggle. Riviera was a great example just recently. The tournament there in LA. It's not a long golf course, but they really did struggle to shoot good scores because of the firmness of the greens. And that's the beauty about playing golf in Australia. Our golf courses aren't long, but they always stand the test of time just because the ground is so firm here in Australia. Peter Wilson hitting his tee shot there on the 11th as well. Left it out to the right, but that's certainly the miss today. He'll have a longish putt for birdie.
Yeah, and he wants that. Oh boy, it's going to stay up there on the top shelf on that right-hand side of the green. He comes over a little ridge, little knoll in the green there, and then down the hill to where that pin is tucked on the left-hand side behind the bunkers at 11. Yeah, the undulations, some of the movement in the greens here are real defence at Bonnie Doon, especially in some of the early stage work on this side of the course, the back nine, as it is. Yeah, Brielle Mapano, and she will use that ridge and the slope there to feed this down towards the hole. Little funnel position there on that left-hand side, Christie, and wouldn't be surprised if someone of those players on the other side of the course who will make their way around on a 2-tee start here in round 3. I'm sure we've had a couple of players go close to holding a tee shot there today, so they'll make their way to the green. And while they do, let's hear from Charlie Dann speaking with Ewan Porter.
Got to make sure our cameraman doesn't fall over here. Charlie, are you getting any tips from Bree, because she's a pretty impressive young player, isn't she?
She's impressive. I'm finding she's a lovely girl more than anything. She's behaving really well today, and everything on course, she's impressing Peter and I for sure. Yeah.
Well, in this situation, as you mentioned before the round, you hadn't led a professional tournament before. Yep. Having an amateur partner like this, does that help sort of relax you and take your mind off the task at hand a little bit?
I mean, yeah, I actually spoke to her about how I was feeling nervous on the first tee, and I said, were you feeling the same? She said yes. So we kind of sort of spoke about that and figured out the only way to enjoy today was to have fun. And her words were to me, this is just like any other day. So, we're enjoying ourselves, and I've got sort of ball flight handled now, and it's funny, this course, it feels like it's when you feel into the wind, it feels like it's a very windy day, but otherwise the downwind holes feel easy. So, yeah, it's nice.
We had a great stretch through the middle, birdie at 7, birdie at 8, eagle at 9, starting to feel a little more relaxed.
Yeah, I was relaxed probably after the third hole. Hit a few good drives and I was away. It's beautiful out here. I'm loving it.
Good on you. Keep it going.
Thanks. Cheers.
28-year-old Charlie Dann with Ewan Porter. Let's go to the 12th, short par 4, one of the 4 short par 4s at Bonnie Doon, playing down breeze this one, and Travis Smythe is attacking. And to great effect. Knocks it on the front section there.
It's a big hit with a 3-wood too, isn't it? I don't think that was driver for him, which is a bit of a scary thought, to be honest.
Yeah, he is one of the longer hitters in this event at Bonnie Doon this week. Can really air it out when he wants to. Now playing with both Travis and Josh Younger. There's Daley Lamanus in the junior section of the event. 3 off the lead at the moment. Daley going with the big dog and staring it down as well. And he has also knocked it on the green. Now that's impressive.
Certainly is. Second shot here for Dale Williamson, who's having a fantastic day out. Currently 12 under. 2 shots behind our leader, Charlie Dann.
His second shot there into 18 with barely a pitching wedge in his hand there. So the man who has a chance for a big payday coming up tomorrow, if he can keep it going through round 4 after making great headway today. A 6 under round through his opening 17 holes. .34 shots going out with the 4 or other 5 birdies and 1 double bogey as it turned out. That 5 at the short par 3-6 will hurt, but an impressive day and a chance coming up for him.
Yeah, looking very relaxed, just pulling the buggy, got the shorts on. Just feels like a Wednesday afternoon comp, really, doesn't it?
Don't know about you guys, but I'm very comfortable seeing the pros wearing shorts. It's an athletic game after all, getting more so by the day.
Yeah, I think some pros you probably don't want to see in shorts, but for the most part.
Anybody you'd care to name?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. The putt there from Peter Wilson.
Pretty good effort, really. It was a long putt, that one, coming over the ridge in the middle of the green. It's a tricky one left, though.
Yeah, a little sliding downhiller. The knockoff of par there, potentially.
I'm going to put your local knowledge here to the test here, Warren. What do you think on this putt from Charlie?
Might just go slightly left to right. Oh, again, one of those ones that's disturbingly straight for the first part of the travel. Might just feed off the... Can't quite see it there. Just a slight rise on the left-hand side as Charlie looks at it. Almost straight down the fall line, though. Coming back now.
Tell you what.
Oh, stayed there.
Geez, it looked good, that one, didn't it? I was just waiting for it to come back at the end. Beautiful roll. Great speed.
Really good speed.
Really in command of his game at the moment, isn't he?
He seems very relaxed, Warren, which is really nice to see. And I think she might be having a little bit to do with that, having the amateur playing with him. I think she seems very calm herself, so maybe she's rubbing off on him.
Now here is Brielle Mapano.
Yep. Birdie putt. It's looking good. Oh. Great putt. Great birdie.
That's how it's done, boys.
Nothing but net.
Straight in the middle.
So Bree stays just 3 off the lead in the junior section of the tournament. Let's go back to 18. Dale Williamson for birdie. And a pretty good stroke there. It will be a rock solid par 4 though at the last. And he, like Charlie Dann and others, looking at perhaps the biggest moment of their golfing careers here in Australia. See just that one drop shot on the back 9 at the previous 17th, the short uphill par 4. They've really gathered to make a par there at 18 and is right, as they say in the classics, in the mix. Now Josh Younger. Looks like he stayed out of the bunker. 2 greenside bunkers there on the right-hand side of the 12th. pin today on a back shelf on the rear left-hand section of the green. Should feed from right to left from this point on. And it was tracking in the right direction. A little bit more weight, that might have cozied down pretty close. Playing partner, one of the juniors, is Daley Lamanus, staring down this eagle attempt. Great afternoon to be out having a wander around the back nine at Bonnie Doon, watching some very, very good golfers in action.
Yeah, it's great that there's no ropes up, so the spectators can sort of get a nice up close and personal view of the pros and the amateurs, seeing how they go about it. Probably offering them the odd bit of advice, maybe.
Plenty of members out, plenty of St Michael's members out watching this man, Travis Smythe, trying to stay in contention. Can help himself in a big way right here with this for an eagle too. Sits 5 back of Charlie Dann at the moment. Uphill for the first 3/4 of its travel, and then slightly downhill to the pin. Gave it a chance. Good weight. Probably feels like having made that stumble at the par 4 8th where he made a double. He needs to get a couple of shots back here on the back nine. Did so yesterday when he holed a 7-iron for an eagle at the end of the breeze par 5 14th. That's handy.
Hold a 7-iron?
Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. He's hitting the 7-iron into a par 5. Par 4, is it?
Par 5. Little issue off the tee though, so he had to sort of punch out of some trouble.
Usually when he hits 7-iron into par 5s, it's for his seconds.
Yeah. Especially here at Bonnie Doon. Now Josh Younger has this for birdie.
It's been a struggle for Josh today. 5 over par so far for the round. Hasn't quite been the Saturday he was hoping for, but hopefully he can pick up a couple coming in and start afresh tomorrow.
Expecting a bub in May with his wife Jacqueline. Now reside down there in the Bellarine Peninsula, playing and practicing out of 13th Beach, home of the Vic Open. Ooh, that'll be disappointing for Daley. The old 3-putt par.
Still, he's only one back of the junior leader at the moment, so that won't hurt too much. 3-putt pars are better than 3-putt bogeys in my book.
It's like having a draw in footy though, isn't it? Sort of leaves you a little underwhelmed, but not wanting to kick the dog, but you know, not dancing with joy either.
All right, Travis Smythe here, 4 feet left for his birdie. Left edge, I'd say, just inside left. Nice smooth stroke.
Just overread it, didn't he? Back to back 3-putt pars in this group.
Yep, he was thinking it went right to left past the hole and then stayed there going back. So I was right there with him.
So Josh Younger makes his par. Now a long way in arrears though, after being just 1 shot off the lead coming into round 3. Now finds himself 9 behind our leader. Out in front by 2, Charlie Dann. Let's take a look at this down breeze par 4 12th.
Par 4 12th, 293 metres off the back for the men, 242 for the ladies. You'll notice these cross bunkers 250-metre carry for the men from the back tee to get over these bunkers. So they sit about 40 metres short of the green. The options are to lay it up and have a wedge in, or take it on. Today, most of the players will be hitting driver or 3-wood, and those bunkers really won't be much in play for them. Pins cut on the left-hand side, 11 on, 3 from the left. You don't want to be left here because there is quite a severe slope left of the green. Front, just short of the front edge of the green. Even the right-hand bunkers shouldn't be too bad, I would imagine. Charlie Dann going with the driver. He'll be able to reach comfortably.
And having the pin on the left there really gives them a chance to attack this green.
This on a great looking line.
Oh, fantastic shot there. Just getting up to the front edge. Will it stay there? Not quite. But that's a great position to be in. Apparently hitting the green isn't very good here. They're 3-putt, so if you leave it just short, you might be able to get it up and down, I think.
Much better chipping up and then trying to knock a little one in for birdie. Now Peter Wilson also with the driver, Ewan.
Yeah, I'm not sure Pete quite has the distance to get there, but as Nick said, anything around that front right bunker or just short of that is the ideal angle from which to pitch or chip to that flag. Pete's the Colin Montgomery of the PGA Tour of Australasia. He has the best ears out here.
That wasn't you, was it, Ewan?
No, it wasn't. He looked the other way.
I'll tell you what it really is. He's the Tony Hawk of the Australasian PGA Tour. There's a 100-metre skate ramp in his backyard.
Well, this will be interesting to see, Woz. It's on a good line, drawing a little.
And just
short.
Doesn't get up there on the false front at the par 4 12th. But like Charlie Dann, in very good position. And they'll move forward to let Brielle Mapano take her tee shot. She also has the driver out. See where she hits it to. Maybe just sneaks one down to the bottom, just short of the cross bunkers. And she may well be blocked out there by the trees, but our juniors enjoying the action here on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in early March at Bonnie Doon Golf Club in Sydney. And it's the Queenslander. On top, Charlie Dann leads by 2 from one of the locals. Using his Bonnie Doon knowledge, Jordan Zunig has vaulted up there into outright second position. One clear of a host of players, including Williamson, Evans, another local, and Shae Wools-Cobb. Jake McLeod, Blake Windred, and Louis Dobbelaar there, all at 10 under. So plenty of players still within striking range in round 3 of the Players Series by Braith Anasta and Cisco Webex. Blake Collier was a co-leader at one stage. He's there at 10 under. We will take a break and come back with more in just a moment.
Well, wishing you the very best.
Hello, I'm Bear Grylls. I've been to some of the most desolate terrains golf has ever seen. From 10-foot bunkers to chipping out from residential neighbourhoods, I've seen it all.
Only about 12,000 years ago, the human species were foraging the ground for food like berries and mushrooms. But since the introduction of food delivery services, we've lost our ability to find things in the shrubs. As you can see here, although this golfer has versatile Adidas footwear on, his ability to find his ball is like putting pigeon wings on a buffalo. Completely useless. When finding someone's ball, you have two options. One is yelling out to them, which I recommend, and option two, if you're on the back nine, they're 4 shots up on you, you can always just stand on their ball, making sure it goes half an inch into the rough, making their next shot close to impossible. Have you found it?
No, not yet.
Are you number 4?
Yeah, that's it.
Found your ball. See you next time.
He stole my ball, didn't he?
Join me next time as I teach you how to escape a bunker.
It's always fun when you're golfing with Grills. Here at the Players Series, we're at Bonnie Doon Golf Club, round 3. Charlie Dann, our leader. Second shot to the short par 4 12th. And the weight on his putts and short game is terrific again today, Christy.
That's just a lovely shot there. Just giving himself a nice little uphill birdie putt. Let's see what Peter Wilson can do. He's probably got one of these in his backyard too. What do you think?
Wow. What about that 100-metre mega skate ramp that he has?
That's unbelievable. My kids would be in heaven.
A bit like a 10, didn't quite catch that one. So longish birdie putt coming up after almost driving it onto the green there at the 12th. Yeah, Peter Wilson's son, Kiefer, at 11 years of age, the youngest ever competitor at the Australian X Games, because Pete has the 100-metre long skate ramp in his backyard at Nyora down there in South Gippsland. That's handy.
100 metres long? That's like a nice wedge for me. That's unbelievable. I've seen that on the YouTube, and I think if you tried to putt that thing, it'd be pretty quick, I'd say. So quite a slope to it.
Yeah, indeed. Holy moly.
Oh, yes, holy moly.
Extreme. That would be extreme putt right there in Peter Wilson's backyard. Let's take a look at what's happening as far as the Australasian Order of Merit is concerned at the moment. Brad Kennedy, of course, the winner of our very first Players Series event, brought to you by Jeff Ogilvy at Rosebud Golf Club, sits on top. Just played the WGC event in Florida just over a week ago, courtesy of his position, as did Minwoo Lee there in second place, and Ryan Fox, the Kiwi, who a couple of seasons ago won the Perth Super Sixes in the Golden West. Jared Felton is there, the boyfriend of Hannah Green, who'll be headed back to stateside coming up in the short term to apply her trade on the LPGA Tour. Dimi Papadakis is there, one of the players in the stable of Braithen Astor and Searoo Sports, our host this week for the Players Series at Bonnie Doon. And Blake Windred, he's only been a pro for 18 months or thereabouts. Plenty of good young players coming out of Australia in recent times. This man, Peter Wilson, he's been around for 2 decades or so. Chance, though, for a healthy check. He's been a prodigious winner of Pro-Am events around the country throughout his career. reeled off an amazing streak of wins back in 2017 to be the Ladbrokes Pro-Am national winner. There'll only be a 4 here at 12.
Yeah, lovely try there. He'll be disappointed in that after the tee shot. Left himself with a nice little uphill chip, but just stubbed it a little, unfortunately. Prodigious winner of Pro-Ams. That's interesting. So yeah, he can light it up, obviously, over 18 holes of golf. That's the one thing about playing 72 holes. You do need to try and string some consistent golf together, which he had done the first 2 days. Today it hasn't quite gone to plan for him, but still plenty of golf left. Charlie Dann after that lovely chip up the hill, 5 feet for birdie. Excellent 3 there.
Would have got a nice read off Peter Wilson's putt too, I think, which would have been handy for him for that one.
He extends the lead. Once again, it goes to 2 with Jordan Zunik making birdies in a hurry ahead of him. Who's at 4 under through 15 holes today, and now at 13 under. Dann moves to 15 under. And Brielle Mapano makes her putt there at the 12th. Young lady trying to move up in the world of Australian golf. Speaking of a young lady in a hurry, Grace Kim is certainly that, having just won the Australian Amateur Championship over in Adelaide. Let's hear from her right now.
I'm in the clubhouse with Grace Kim today, who shot a round of 70. Grace, how was it out there?
It was tough today. Not as windy as yesterday, but the wind was still up there. About 2 clubs, and the pins. Yeah, the greenkeepers really stitched this up today, so it was tough.
But you had a fantastic round yesterday. You teed off in the afternoon. You shot 72. That must have been a fantastic score. You must have been thrilled with that.
I was quite thrilled. I did start with a triple, so having that start really hit me hard. So I knew I needed to grind it out the day. So I did. Yeah, I was very happy.
And how will you've come in now with a round of 70? What will you go and do this afternoon in preparation for tomorrow's round?
Obviously, I made a couple of mistakes out there. I didn't hole as many putts as I wanted to, so I think I'll be on the putting green for a while.
Well, wishing you the very best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Hermione.
Grace Kim, she intends to turn professional the back half of this current year and head to the States and go to qualifying school and see, I guess, if she can skip the Symetra Tour and find herself straight onto the old PGA Tour. And well, she has all the tools. She's a fabulous player.
She has an amazing record. She won back-to-back New South Wales Amateurs and 20 and 21, and was the first person since Sarah O to win back-to-back, and then obviously Australian Amateur champ. She's actually heading over to, she was invited to go to Augusta and play in the National Women's Amateur over there, the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which will be amazing, and I think that's why she's held off turning pro. So
we're about to go to 13. Marcus Fraser has done the honours and will show us how to play it.
Thirteenth hole here. You know, we've got a great backdrop at par 3, downhill, probably playing probably a good half a club downhill. To me, it's just going to try and use all the bank on the right-hand side. When I've got a front pin or a back left pin, the back right pin I think is a little bit tricky. You've got to fly it all the way there. Possibly use the backstop if it's down breeze. So we'll give it a go. Just where I was trying to hit it, I reckon that'd be pretty good. I mean, this green's pretty much a pretty good example of, okay, middle of the green. You know, as we talked about, you probably got a back right pin on Sunday. The green's falling with the land all the way to the back left, so you're still trying to just pitch it sort of 5 on, 6 on, just trying to work out what it's going to do when it's hitting the deck. You know, you've got a pretty bad miss over to the right, so that's your one you're really going to try and avoid, because if you miss that green over to the right, you're going to probably struggle to even chip it back onto the green. That'll do. One under.
There is a lot of movement there in the green at 13. Blind par 3. Well, you can see the flag, you can see sections of the right-hand side of the green, but you can't see the putting surface on the left-hand side, which is where the pin is today, tucked in the back left corner of what I think is a fabulous par 3. So many different pin positions. And as Marcus said, the middle of the green there is never a bad play. Here is Peter Wilson.
My tag Hoyer connected telling me it's 175 to the flag. Pete hanging this a little right.
Just working off the hump on the right-hand side there, feeding ever closer to the pin. And that's a very good shot. Still a slightly awkward putt coming up. Little hump there at the back of the green. Will feed his ball from right to left as he looks at the flag there. In a moment, we'll go ahead to the par 5 14th. This group of Blake Collier, Jack Thompson, Blake Collier. He was a co-leader at one stage with Charlie Dann. A rough ride though through that middle section. The scoring holes in 7, 8, 9. He birdied 7, parred 8, then made a double bogey we saw earlier on at the par 5 9th, and then followed that up with a 5 at the 10th. So 3 shots dropped in the space of 2 holes, and he now finds himself 5 back from Charlie Dann, who has the outright lead.
Yeah, this 14th hole, 505-metre par 5, playing back into the southerly. Not sure they'll be reaching that green in 2 today. Getting fairly close though, these young guys that bomb at a mile. They'll be certainly playing probably the toughest of the par 5s out there.
You've spent a little bit of time with Jack Thompson, Nick, working some camps in South Australia.
I did spend a day there with Adrian Wickstein, who heads up the high performance program for the South Australian golf there, and I was really impressed. Yeah, I mean, there was probably about 8 or 9 golfers there. We were out at Royal Adelaide that particular day, and Jack was fascinating. I'd heard some big raps about him. His game, you know, lived up to those expectations, and I was probably more impressed by the questions he asked. You know, it was very detailed and quite interesting from such a young guy. And you know, as he's showing of his recent form, he's one heck of a golfer, that's for sure. And as his first event as a pro golfer, to make the cut and to, you know, be in contention is very impressive, and he has a big future ahead of him.
And up until today, he'd only made 1 bogey in 36 holes, which is a fair effort for your first pro event, I would have thought. First 2 rounds, one bogey.
Especially around an unfamiliar course.
Exactly.
Had a professional event here at Bonnie Doon Golf Club for the best part of 50 years. You go back to the early 70s when an Australian PGA was played. A host venue also for some New South Wales Opens back in the middle part of last century. But it's great to see pro golf back at this iconic Sydney venue. Here is Collier, and it needed half a roll more.
Right in the jaws, as they say. Jack's no stranger to being in contention in pro tournaments, just not as a pro. He actually finished runner-up in the Queensland Open a couple of years ago, lost in a playoff to Anthony Quayle. Had a chance to take out that state title, so he knows what it's all about. But when you turn pro, it's a slightly different feeling than being an amateur, when your livelihood is on the line, and those 4-foot putts all of a sudden, they become a bit more meaningful.
Well, it might be good signs for Jack, because they'll be headed back to Pelican Waters for the Queensland Open next week as the Australasian Tour continues. And all these players, including this man, the Queenslander, who at one stage was based at Pelican Waters, Charlie Dann, but now working out of Sanctuary Cove on the Gold Coast. Ewan Porter is following this group. Second coming up here for Charlie Dann. Ewan.
Yeah, caught his tee shot a little heavy, Warren, and he has a couple of options here. He's decided to take the putter, which I think is actually the riskier play. I thought if he chipped this, he could take that huge swale out of the equation that the ball is coming down now, gather some momentum. Excellent effort. That's why I'm talking and he's playing.
Well, we saw you swinging a moment ago with Hermione Fitzgerald, Ewan. It's still silky smooth, that action of yours. Can't believe you're not out there playing. Great to have you, though, as part of our coverage here again this week at Bonnie Doon on Sydney's sandbelt. That's a lovely pace and nicely described the travel of that putt by Charlie Dann. This is a tough one though for Brielle Mapano. Needs to stop there or catch the slope. No, it just hangs on.
Very well played. I like her pace of play too. She just gets up, looks at it, hits it. Fantastic. Moves on. Slow play. That's one of the you know, those things on tour that you never really like as you're playing out there. If your playing partners are quite slow, it can get a bit frustrating at times. The quicker players have to adjust to the slow players, not the other way around, unfortunately.
Now this is a good angle of what Peter Wilson faces here. You see that hump at the back section in the middle of the green. So it'll be right to left going over that hump and then further right to left as he gets back to that left corner of the 13th. Higher he goes, the faster it slings off the back section of the green. And really gathering pace there off that slope. It will hang on also, but maybe 7 to 8 feet for par still for the Victorian.
Travis Smyth.
Yes. Sorry, Christy.
You're right. Travis Smyth. Third at 14. He's taking a wood off out of the rough, and he's actually topped it, unfortunately.
And if that's his third at 14, I wonder what happened between the tee and there, because that was a long way from the green where he was. So there'll be no 7-iron holdout for eagle today for Travis Smyth at the lone par 5 on the back 9. Brielle Mapano just loving life. Sun shining. She's out playing with some very good professionals. Learning a lot, no doubt.
Yeah, if Charlie Dann keeps playing well, I think he might want to keep her on as a caddy or something. I mean,
unfortunately, she's got to play tomorrow.
Well, if she keeps playing as well as she is, they might be playing together.
Yeah, maybe.
Good putt there from Peter to save par. It's been a bit of a struggle, but he's still got a smile on his face. Great to see. It may be the longest flag in the Southern Hemisphere, that one, because it's a blind par 3. You can't see the green. You need that 10 or 11-foot pole to be able to figure out where the flag is.
There are a couple of them at Bonnie Doon. The 5th, the second shot there, is also a blind shot into the par 4. Fashioned after the 17th at Kingston Heath is the 5th at Bonnie Doon. So like the one at Kingston Heath, has a very long flagpole. Charlie Dann.
That's a great 2-putt from the front of that green. It was about 80 feet or so, that first one. As Ewan said, he could have chipped it if he wanted to, but turns out I think the putter was the right decision.
He rolled a pretty good one back at the 8th as well, and it's our Odyssey putt of the day. He was just short with his tee shot, chipped up maybe a little strongly to that point, but coming back down the slope. That is just magnificent pace. And in she went for yet another birdie for our leader. The Odyssey putt of the day belongs to Charlie Dann. Now, Travis Smyth will have a story to tell at the end of this round. A little bit of everything. It's a sweet tempoed action, isn't it? He's got some issues here, though, and he's blocked this right, and with the pin on the right-hand side of the green and a fairly tight section of grass over there between the green and the 15th tee. Oh, he might rack up another number here, having made a double bogey 6 at the par 4 8th. Let's take a look at this par 5, Nick. It's an intimidating tee shot, especially back into the southerly today.
It certainly is. At 505 metres, it's probably playing more like 550 off the back tee. 443 metres for the ladies. You can see the white posts up the right-hand side. I'm sure a lot of the Bonnie Doon members may have Hit balls out onto the driving range there and had to reload. We've got a nice big waste area on the left there where I have a feeling Travis Smythe might have hit his tee shot up in that area. But once you find the fairway, it's kind of decision time. They've got the fairway down the right-hand side that we can see. But you can also hit across to the left there. There's a large waste area separating two fairways, so to speak, because the green wraps around some bunkers at the front. But if you can lay it up into a good spot, and with that southerly breeze, you've got a challenging approach. Today, the pin is cut on the right-hand side, 12 paces on, 4 from the edge of the green. And when Travis Smythe is, he can have a tricky up and down. That kidney-shaped green wrapping around the bunkers. It's a very testing par 5 today.
Charlie Dann and Peter Wilson will be there. Charlie Dann leads by 2 from Jordan Zunig, Dale Williamson, Shae Wools-Cobb there as well. At the top of the leaderboard in the Players Series by Braithen Astor and Cisco WebEx.
Dowie, making your tour debut this week here in Sydney, your hometown. Obviously very excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play this week at home, and I think a few of my friends and family will come out this week, so that'll be really nice.
And Jack, your professional debut this week. Now, you've got experience in the professional ranks. It was 12 months ago. You were runner-up, unfortunately losing the playoff to Anthony Quayle at the Queensland Open. Those experiences, how much can you draw on that now in your professional career?
Oh, for sure. I mean, nothing really changes when you turn pro. You don't get another set of clubs or balls. Everything's exactly the same. So to think that I could have done it 12 months ago, it's reassuring now to think that the same things that are happening and that I can do it again. So it's awesome.
And Elvis, there's obviously been a lot of hype around yourself and your game over the last 6 to 9 months. You've been on an absolute tear, winning
the Capera Bowl by 13 shots, Queensland Stroke Play by 9 shots. You were runner-up just a few weeks ago at the Players Series down in Victoria. What are your expectations early on and then moving forward in your professional career?
Yeah, they're very high at this stage. I'm playing some really good golf. Yeah, my game's at a really good level now. I played great down at Rosebud about a month ago, and that gave me a lot of confidence knowing that I can compete with some of the top guys. And yeah, it's very exciting, and yeah, that's probably the reason why I'm turning professional this week, because my game's at a really good level and I'm excited.
And Dowie, what about coming up against these guys this week in the format? It's pretty cool, this initiative that the tour have got, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great, and it's great for women's golf as well, and especially like Elvis said a month ago down at Rosebud, Sue played really good, and it just shows that we can play with great golfers and great guys like these two here.
Three young players, and they are very, very good players. Jack Thompson, Doughy Choi, and Elvis Smylie.
Right, 14th hole here, great par 5. You know, for me, into the breeze, I'm just going to try and hug the probably left half of the fairway, try and set up a really good angle for my second shot to then be hitting my third shot into the green. If the pin's on the right, I'm probably going to go up to the right section. Pin's on the left, I'm going to go up to the left section. All right, good spot in the middle of the fairway here. I think into the breeze, I'm going to struggle to carry it onto that left side on that section, so I'm just going to go up the right. Hopefully give myself a really good number coming into, you know, a really good green complex. Should be good, I think. Got quite a spinny little shot here into the breeze. I think it's going to be all about controlling the spin. The shot I'm trying to take the spin out, always trying to hit a 3/4 shot, so I'm not hitting anything too full. Any full shot into the breeze on receptive greens is really going to spin a lot. Into the breeze, there won't be too many guys who'll be able to reach this green in 2, I wouldn't have thought. So the guys that are going to have a go at the green really probably want to avoid this front trap for certain pins. There's a lot going on this green where, you know, some really good sections to put pins. So you have to do your homework coming into the green. Really got to be into your yardage book here to really make sure that you know what's going on. There's a massive ridge through here. If you just get it a yard wrong coming in and you get on the wrong side of this shelf, it's going to come all the way back down, into this section here.
And here we are at 14 at Bonnie Doon Golf Club. Charlie Dann, having just played his second shot into the breeze at the par 5, is strolling along very nicely for the time being. Leads by 2 from Bonnie Doon Golf Club's Jordan Zunik, looking to add to his illustrious career to this point. We go ahead to 15, short par 3, and Travis Smythe, who's had a bit of everything today. Pin tucked in the front left corner of this 2-tiered green. And that will feed back off the front and be interesting for Travis coming up. His issues continue on. Let's go to Peter Lonard at 18. You can find him most days stationed just across the water at the Lakes Golf Club, where he's now doing some teaching. But he's got it going at the moment, he said. He was in good position coming into round 3 here today. And we'll see what he can do tomorrow on Sunday at the Doon. So we go back to 14 and Peter Wilson doing the numbers.
Your third shot here back up into the breeze. When you're playing into a strong wind like this, you really want to try and control the spin by taking 1 or 2 more clubs, making a nice smooth swing at it. The harder you hit the ball when you're playing into the breeze, the more spin you put on it and the more the wind affects it. So by taking that nice smooth swing, reduces the spin on the ball and it just won't affect it as much, but it does take some practice. That's why these guys are pros. So. There's a nice smooth pass at it by Peter.
Looks like he clipped it nicely.
Oh, yep.
And it's just going to catch the false front and feed back off the putting surface itself. Oh, it just catches the edge there, the collar. And we'll stay there, but a long birdie putt coming up. Tough to get it back there today into the breeze. This green, something of a boomerang shape, and its inspiration was the original 9th green at Augusta National Golf Club.
Really?
Mike Cocking, part of the what was the OCCM architectural firm that did the redesign at Bonnie Doon, taking some inspiration from various holes around the world to try and incorporate those into the design where it suited the landforms.
The original 9th at Augusta.
Yeah, had a couple of wings either side of that bunker on the left-hand side of the green. Originally extended around the other side of that bunker, which is now on the left-hand side of the green there.
Wow, I haven't seen that picture. I'll have to go back and do a bit of research. That sounds fascinating.
And for those buffs watching on, that originally was, of course, the 18th green at Augusta before they flipped the 9s.
It was, yes. That's one of the... I never liked the 9th hole there. It was a tough hole for a lefty. I couldn't get all the way down the bottom of the hill, unfortunately. So trying to hit a long iron into an uphill green there isn't good. As you see Jordan Zunik on the 18th hole here, playing beautifully today. 4 under par, 13 under total. At the moment he's 2 back of Charlie Dann. Local member knowledge coming into full effect this week for him. Jono, his caddy's been with him for a little while now, and they make a great team, these two.
And just the one bogey today so far, Nick. So he's having a nice consistent day. Just got to keep it going, finish it off, put a good score in the clubhouse and come back tomorrow.
Fair way back here for his second shot, given that at times, and this is down breeze today, it's something of folklore at the Doon that this man, Jordan Zunik, once drove the 18th, which is, for me, is completely mind-boggling, no matter how strong the breeze is. He's trying to work it out here at the moment. Southeast, just quartering around, and you can see that wind maybe tending around more towards the east. As we look at things at the moment, there goes the pin sheets flying everywhere. You love that when you're out there carrying someone's bag and you've got stuff blowing all over the place.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't happen while you're over the ball, you don't mind. I'd say he's still only got a short iron in his hand here, 8 or a 9 iron. Knowing Jordan, he can hit a 9 iron 170 metres downwind at times, so even if he is a bit far back.
Pin today back right. See what he can do. Well, whatever they figured with the breeze, it didn't work. I think he thought he was going to get a little bit more out of that and help it right to left as he was looking at things. And given it's tucked on that back right corner, it won't be an easy up and down for the local man. We go back to 14 and Peter Wilson.
It's not quite enough on that birdie attempt there, coming up the hill on the par 5. Charlie Dann just off to the right-hand side. He's going to have a right to left putt up the hill, back into the breeze as well. Took a few bobbles early, kicked it down the hill a bit quicker than he wanted. Good news is he has a 5-footer up the hill for par. Better than 5 feet above the hill on that hole, I'd imagine, downwind.
Yeah, certainly the putts uphill at the moment, into the breeze especially, pretty slow, but those ones above the hole, down breeze, absolute lightning with the greens quickening slightly throughout the day, especially with the wind sucking a bit of moisture out of the greens. The greens on this side of the course. Slight mix of Poa grass in there amongst the Mackenzie mix of the original greens, and then on the newer side, the front side, across the road, holes 3 through 7. Blend of A1 and A4 bent grass for you turf pervs out there.
Did you do an agronomy course or something earlier, Warren? You seem to have all the facts on this place. It's amazing.
I say turf perv. I am one of those grass nerds, always walking around looking at different grasses on different golf courses. Saw a pure zoysia grass course up at Tevan Valley inland from Byron Bay in January.
Really?
Magnificently conditioned.
Yeah, the zoysias. Zoysia? I think that's how you say it, zoysia. That is just magnificent grass to play off, whether it's, you know, fairways, greens, rough. Doesn't really matter. You always seem to get a really good lie.
If you're in the area, Craig Parry did the redesign in the last 12 months or so. Paz turning his hand to a bit of architecture work as Charlie Dann just rolls that one in. Yep, Tevan Valley. Beautiful little valley. 9 holes, short holes, par 3s, couple of par 4s. It's a cracker. Charlie Dann gets to 16 under.
Well, that's 2 big hits to get next to the green today. Back into the breeze. That's very impressive. He's looking very comfortable, isn't he? He's just rolling those 4-5 footers in without much stress. Always a good sign.
This for par for Pete Wilson. Short with his approach, short with his putt, and then that one rolls past the edge, and I thought for a moment there he was going to sling the putter over the fence into East Lake Golf Club.
Yeah, the 2 co-leaders, one's going up, one's going down at the moment. We come back to Jordan Zunik. Right of the 18th green, he's left himself a very tricky up and down, but he has one of the best short games I've seen, that's for sure. Amazing hands. And has great touch, so it'll all be put to the test right here.
I wonder if the music wafting over from the sponsors marquee behind 18 is just calming him down at the moment. A little bit of acoustic.
I always like the music in the background. Some of the tournaments on the US tour used to have it next to the range, and it provides some great rhythm. You know, you're out there just kind of, oh, this feels pretty good, and it feels a bit more relaxed and comfortable, and takes your mind off all the negatives.
I think as long as the music is there constant, doesn't put you off. If it started and stopped, I think that might be an issue, but that was a lovely pitch from Jordan Zunik.
Yeah, I built his short game up there and he didn't disappoint me, so that was good.
The commentator's curse kept in the cupboard for the time being. I'm sure we'll have time to pull it out between here and the final putt tomorrow afternoon. Bit of a sigh of relief there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he's feeling probably the pressure as far as playing his own home golf course. He's been playing some good golf for quite some time now. You know, recently, just over a year ago, was married to his wife Olivia.
Yep.
And she's an absolute sweetheart of a lady, and they make a great team. Originally, she was caddying for him a few years ago, and when I was first talking to him, I sort of said, you know, if you want to perhaps stay married, it might be a good idea to find another caddy.
Always advisable. Charlie Dann to the short par 3 15th. Working back towards the flag. A chance. A chance.
What a fantastic shot. Used the backslope there perfectly, and I thought he was going to drop it straight in. What a one that would have been.
That was the perfect shot to that front left pin. Use the backslope and roll it back down. And the moment that pitched into the hill, that was a big hope of going in.
It's a cracking little hole. It's 110 metres. That's all it is. But it's, if you with the breeze kicking up, it's a very tough little shelf shot.
Now Wilson. Same level as the flag. And slightly downhill putt coming up for his birdie attempt. But Charlie Dann is putting the foot down. Having just made birdie at the 14th, he can go back-to-back and extend this lead to 4 as we approach the final stages of round 3 of the Players Series by Braithen Astor and Cisco WebEx here at Bonnie Doon Golf Club in Sydney. Jordan Zunig there in second place. Jake McLeod with a 5-under round today, getting up to 10 under. Former winner of the New South Wales Open. We'll come back in just a moment. Don't you go anywhere.
The hardest part. The hardest part for any young player is the early stage of their career. One of the great benefits of the Players Series is that it's giving you the opportunity to gain time with seasoned professionals. That's why we've brought you in here today. Thanks to the power of Cisco WebEx technology, we've got 2 major champions in the room with us. Do you want to find out who they are? Yeah. Great, let's find out. Hannah Green and Danielle Kang, thanks for joining us today.
I knew it! I knew it! Dude, that is so cool. How's it going, guys?
Hi. Like, obviously you guys both won majors. Like, did you guys prepare anything differently for a major, or like, do you guys prepare the same? Or?
For me, I tried to prepare differently, but I don't. Every time I have tried, I've played really bad.
How do you guys sort of ride the wave of playing well? And on the flip side, how do you sort of find a way to snap out of like a bit of a slump?
I guess for me, when I'm playing well, I really just trust in my game, and confidence comes with good golf. You go to the golf course and you have that confidence that you're gonna play well. And I ride that as much as I can because it doesn't come very often sometimes.
Obviously, all majors and I guess normal tournaments are probably a bit different. But when you were in contention or leading, like, how did you like deal with your emotions?
That was the most nervous I've ever been in my life. I said to my caddy Nate on the 16th hole that I have never had my heart beat so quickly.
Thank you both so much for talking to us today. That was fantastic. I know I found that interesting. I'm sure you all did too. Thank you both.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm always around, girls. Don't worry. I'm already getting to talk.
I DM'd you. You didn't reply. Oh. No, I'm kidding.
You DM'd me?
No, I haven't. I'm kidding. Follow me now.
She's gonna look.
Okay, what's your Insta? I'll look at it.
Oh, I'm gonna DM you right now.
Okay, DM me right now. Okay.
Great chance to speak to Hannah Green and Danielle Kang for some of the rising stars in the Australian women's ranks. Let's take a look at our Powerade recovery shot of the day. And it is Jordan Zunig. Pitch we saw a moment ago to close range there at the final hole at Bonnie Doon Golf Club, and then he would roll it in to save his par and stay in outright second place. Behind our leader, Charlie Dann, Jordan Zunig, one of the locals in action this week. 4 under 67 to move to 13 under par for the event with 1 round to go in the Players Series at the Doon. What a popular win it would be for Jordan if he could get the job done. There is Olivia wandering over for a kiss and a well done. Good job, Hub. Now go get that trophy tomorrow. While we do have a moment on a sad note, I'd just like to make mention of the fact that 10-time member of Bonnie Doon, 10-time rather club champion of Bonnie Doon Golf Club and 61 years of membership. Barry Baker, former Australian amateur champion back in 1964 and also an Eisenhower Cup player in the same year with the great Kevin Donoghue from the northern shores of Sydney as well, passed away overnight. And it is a sad day for the members of Bonnie Doon Golf Club. So to the family and the many, many friends of the great Barry Baker, our sincere condolences on a tough day for everybody at the club and beyond. Take a look at the leaderboard there. I'm proud to say I own a couple of Barry's old 3-woods that he gave to me a couple of years ago. He used to work at the PGF factory in Sydney after he moved down from Maitland up there in the Hunter Valley, and they're beautiful implements, and he wielded them as well as anybody. He was a great wind player, sort of 3/4 action, and he could really get it around Bonnie Doon in the wind, and he would have been something to catch in the field at his prime in the conditions here this week. So, yeah, sad day for everybody at the Doon. We'll remember, though, the great Barry Baker. There is Doughy Choi, 2 over today in her first event as a professional. And I dare say she might well get a chance to play in the Men's New South Wales Open in a few weeks' time at a home club at Concord Golf Club. That would be rather fitting. Geordie Garner there from St Michael's. 2 over for the event, 6 over today after starting at 4 under. Let's take a look at one of the short par 4s, the 16th here. And I dare say they'll be attacking today despite playing into the sou'easter.
Yeah, slight dog leg to the right, 310 metres. It's probably playing the way the fairway goes as a direct line. It's playing a little bit shorter, 280 metres or so to the front edge of the green, which they have in the bag, these young fellas. Wind's out the right, and with the pin cut 19 on and 4 from the left, the miss is out to the right, which is where Charlie has just hit that one. He'll have at least an angle coming up the fairway, just up into the green. It just depends on the lie he has in the rough. Anywhere left of this green and you're going to really struggle to be able to get it close. The other option obviously is just to hit an iron down there and a wedge on and try and make birdie that way, but aggressive golf seems to be the way forward. Peter Wilson with driver there.
Looking left, I fancy, and left, oh, actually, little kick off the mount on the left-hand side, back to the middle of the fairway. That's a good result. Green certainly favours a shot from the right half of the fairway. Gotta love a good short par 4. We saw Riviera just a couple of weeks ago, of course, the famous 10th hole there. Much talked about 10th hole. This one here at Bonnie Doon, again, like Riviera, a par 3.5 in reality for the pros. He's standing on the tee thinking about a 3. And at the green, Travis Smyth, another putt, just doesn't find the bottom.
Yeah, Bonnie Doon has a number of really good short par 4s where you can make 2, but you can also make 6 pretty quickly, as we've seen throughout the day. And they're the holes you kind of remember, those short, gettable, reachable ones, par 4s, par 5s. the 450 metre par 4 or the 550 metre par 5 you don't really remember too much about, because it always seems to be a bit of a struggle.
Daley Lamanus in the junior ranks. Also having his problems with the putter at 16.
Nick, when you were playing, did you find on the shorter, say, par 4s, you would go? Jack Thompson's second shot at 14? 17.
No, this one's 17.
17, sorry.
Yeah, really difficult pin there today. You can see tucked right behind the front right bunkers, and if you can lay up on the left-hand side of what is a much wider fairway than it used to be before the redesign by the OCM boys, the architectural firm, and also Mike Clayton, with the original layout as far as the master plan at Bonnie Doon is concerned.
Would you have a plan before you went in on the par 4s, or would you see how you were feeling on the day and then play them as per how you were feeling and hitting the ball?
I would have a plan beforehand, but then a lot would depend on conditions and pin position, to be honest. And you always look at the start of the round, those particular holes where, well, okay, I may have a crack at this one, maybe lay up on this one, and that really is dictated a lot by pin position, I think you'll find, and wind direction. For myself personally, I wasn't a long hitter, so I very rarely went at par 4s. My strengths with wedges, so if I put the ball in play, had a wedge in my hand, I back myself to get it up and down. I mean, the 10th at Riviera we were talking about earlier is a prime example. I think I always played that hole better when I laid it up rather than had a crack at it, because it's just such a tricky hole, and especially out here on the courses in Australia, and very much this one, Bonnie Doon, we've noticed the par 4s today, how if you do take the conservative option, par's very easy to make. It's, you know, but 2's probably out of the equation, and you can throw in the odd birdie, but you're taking bogeys and doubles out of the equation as well, which is always good.
At 18, Ella Skaysbrook, nicely rolled putt there. Part of the junior action over the weekend here at the Doon, playing alongside Shae Wools-Cobb and also Andrew Evans, another of the Bonnie Doon members who are really rising to the top on their home track this week. Brielle Mapano with her approach at 16. Playing with our leader, Charlie Dann, who found the rough to the right-hand side. Big moment for Charlie, who's done so well again today to really just finish off this round, complete the day's work, and put himself in great position. It would be easily the biggest win of his career to this point at 28 years of age, should he get the job done at Bonnie Doon this week. As an amateur, won the Master of the Amateurs at Royal Melbourne back in 2017. Had a 5-shot lead with 6 to play on that occasion. Needed a playoff to get the win. Also won the Capera Bowl up there in Brisbane.
He's got a great angle coming up this green here. I know he's in the rough, but that shouldn't pose too much of a problem. Won't be getting any spin on the ball. So he'll have to land his well short and let it release. Pretty well judged. It's about 15 feet away. He would have been hoping for a touch closer, but not too bad a result all in all.
Bonnie Doon member Glenn Smyth on the bag with him this week. Works with Cisco WebEx, our title sponsors as well. Things are happening. They're falling in place for Charlie Dann in lots of ways this week. Peter Wilson.
You have an encyclopedic knowledge there, Warren. It's just, you seem to know everyone out there. It's fascinating.
Well, comes pretty easily when it's your home club you're talking about, I guess.
And how often are you out there playing?
Wednesday morning. I'm a Wednesday warrior.
Right.
In the midweek comp. That's about it for me, especially once the football season rolls around. And yes, here we are. The football season is about to begin. Can't wait for it. Rabbitohs and the Storm to kick things off on Thursday night, live on Fox League. Peter Wilson. Probably more an AFL man, I'm going to suggest.
Probably. I feel like he should turn his cap round to the back and have a skateboard under his arm. You know, he's got the right gear on for it too, you know.
Well, a couple of bowls on the greens here at Bonnie Doon. He could put a little Tony Hawk action for us on. And he played a nice shot in there just beyond the flag at the short 16th. Looks like the breeze, especially protected by the trees there, alongside the border of the northern paddock at Bonnie Doon. Just can't quite feel it there. The flag, a little flutter, but not as strongly as it was the more exposed parts of the course. And then they'll turn down breeze at 17 and 18. Short par 4. And then down breeze 18, a medium range par 4 for these players. Long for the members, but not for the pros. And a great chance to have a very handy buffer going into round 4 for Charlie Dann.
And of course he took the game up quite late at 15 and then turned pro quite late, so you could call him a late bloomer, but I feel like he's been knocking on the door in a few of these events. He did miss the cut in the TPS in Melbourne, but finished 11th in the Moona Links Classic, so he looks like he's just ready to have his breakthrough.
Yep, and looking to move up the order of merit, which we showed you earlier on, situated around 70th at the moment. First job, he says, is to secure his Australasian Tour cards. Had a good look.
Good try. He just looks so relaxed, Nick. For someone who's leading, you know, out in front and probably hasn't really been in this position before, I feel like he really just looks super comfortable.
It certainly is. It's just been a nice casual walk for him by the feel of it. His speed control on the greens has been great all day. Irons, he's controlled well, pin high most of the day. Oh, a lovely putt there from Brie. Saves her par after a not so great second shot, but that's what a short game's for. Nice smile and on to the next.
One thing we know about Brielle Mapano from the Australian Golf Club, she can roll her rock, can't she? Looks like a very good putter. We've seen her make some nice ones so far. The Adidas performance of the day with this putt. Going across the slope there.
That was a nice 2-putt birdie on 7. Par 5. On the 8th hole, short par 4. 12-foot putt down the hill. Lovely roll again. Another birdie. Put a nice string here together on 7, 8 and 9 going birdie, birdie, eagle. And as came to the 14th, the par 5, 2 big hits next to the green into that southerly breeze. But this one a little bit of work to do, 4 or 5 feet up the hill. But the way he's putting it, may as well have just picked it up and gone to the next.
He's really stroking the ball well. Making it look easy, Nick.
He is 5 under on his round, Charlie Dann, and leading by 3 over Jordan Zunig, Dale Williamson and Shae Wools-Cobb. They're at 11 under. And then a group of players at 10, including the Australian amateur champion of a couple of weeks ago, Louis Dobbelaar there. Blake Windred turned pro just on a couple of years ago, 18 months ago now. He is a very well-credentialed player. So is Elvis Smylie, who was flying and was only a couple back at one stage before he had an 8 at the par 5 14th, which really threw a spanner into his spokes. Ali Richard in the junior event is tied by Daley Lamanis in our Junior Players Series event here at the Players Series at Bonnie Doon, brought to you by Braithen Astor and Cisco WebEx. We will take a break and come back in just a moment. This is the second edition of the Players Series. We're in Sydney at this place, Bonnie Doon Golf Club. It's a terrific layout, par 71, short by modern standards at just under 6,000 metres from the tips, but it's been a great host venue this week. And you'll see the final round of the Players Series event here in Sydney tomorrow, kicking off at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time on Fox Sports 506, KO Sports, and also Sky Sport New Zealand. It promises to be a thrilling final day. It promises to be a great final day for Charlie Dann from Queensland, who is freewheeling out in front at the moment, playing alongside Peter Wilson from Victoria, who's standing by on the 17th tee.
Seventeen's a short par 4, 284 metres. Playing downwind, but given the pin position today on the right-hand side, it's a very, very dangerous tee shot to take it on. So players just laying up with an iron and trusting their wedge game.
Charlie Dann has already played his tee shot. Brings us to Brielle Mapano in the junior section of the event. Ideal tee shot today up the left-hand edge, if you can manage it without getting too cute. Anything there is safe. Might mean that Brielle has to play away from the flag, and that would be a fairly good idea given where it's perched on the right edge today. There's a false side on that green, and it could easily fall away if you get too cute. So middle of the green, which is what Josh Younger has done. That's a pretty good option. And here he is with a birdie putt to try and get it to 5 under after, well, having a Saturday he'd like to forget.
Yeah, he'll be pretty disappointed, but you know, tomorrow's a new day, and hopefully he can get a few more back tomorrow and, you know, get himself a little bit further up the order of merit.
Must have been infectious in this group. Travis Smythe also having a pretty tough third round of the Players Series event.
Yeah, Saturday is moving day, but unfortunately they moved in the wrong direction in this group. Travis 1 over for the day. 9 under for the tournament. Still not out of it. Charlie Dann's obviously been playing well, but when you haven't won on tour, you never know what can happen during the last round, and there's plenty of quality players lurking behind. He can sneak a birdie in the last couple of holes, finish level par for the day. I'd be feeling pretty good about it, given the way he's played. Make that a birdie up the last to level par.
Yeah, good effort there from long range, but just hasn't had a great day with the putter by the looks of things, and he's had his issues off the tee at times as well, as we saw most notably at the par 4 8th, which is just across the way from where he stands at the moment. Daley Lamanus, one of our co-leaders in the junior event. We can't make that putt there. For the juniors to be 3 over through 17 here at Bonnie Doon, that is pretty good going given the tough conditions as far as the breeze is concerned. Had to contend with the strong southerly all day, and he and others have handled it very well.
Even just having the cameras on them, and you know, even a few more people watching and playing with professionals. It's a lot of pressure for them to deal with, so it's a great effort for them to be only 3 over after 17.
Yeah, exactly. Part of the experience, part of the intention of the Players Series is to try and give some of the amateurs and some of the juniors coming through a real taste of what it's like to be at this level of the game. And there is Travis Smythe having a chat to Daley as they walk off to the 18th. That's great to see. He's a lovely fella, is Travis Smythe. Now, pretty fair bloke himself, is Charlie Dann. And here he is looking up the hill at 17.
I can tell you his ball is right in the middle of a divot here in the 17th fairway. He has 102 metres to the flag, and with the pin only 3 paces from the right, coming straight downwind, got to be looking 10, 15 feet of the flag, I would say.
Yeah, popular layup spot right there this week. So unlucky to catch a divot though.
Looks like there's a lot of them around there.
Thing that he,
sorry, Ewan.
yeah, the thing he has going in his favour is the ball is towards the end of the divot, so he should be able to catch the ball first. It is on a little bit of an upslope. Sand wedge back in his stance. Caught it a little heavy. Yeah, smart play.
Long third coming up from the back left corner of the green. He'd give anything for a 2-putt right now and to walk to the 18th. You can have one of those days you're just cruising around and the golf gods will find a way to give you a little test, one out of the blue, with a ball in the divot on this second last hole.
Yeah, it just keeps you in check, doesn't it? Saying, no, you haven't got control over this game. I have.
Kidding me,
So.
aren't you? Why would it cut the fairways like that? I don't understand.
Peter not quite agreeing with his lie in the fairway either, but that's the beauty of this game. Play as it lies.
Well, while Pete is talking about divots and whatever else, well, women in golf clinics at Bonnie Doon have been very popular. The club runs a Girls on the Green program, which has attracted many female members in recent times, and some of those players are out this week getting a few ideas from some of the pros. It's a lovely practice area, big driving range and short game area down there beside the 13th and 14th holes to the western side of the course. And well, spent a couple of hours down there just working on your game pretty comfortably, couldn't you, Christy?
Oh, for sure. I think it's really important to have a really nice practice area for you to go and work on things that you need to, work on, and especially short game as well.
They all had a great time from all reports as we go back to 18. Sun sinking towards the horizon in the final stages of this third round of the Players Series.
I'll follow all of them.
Blake Collier and Jack Thompson in this group with Jai Halls, the junior player, a junior in each of the groups. Those players who made the cut, well, certainly 20 of the 27 groups out there, days 3 and day 4. Here's Thompson.
His birdie putt just slips by. Struggled a bit on the back nine, Jack, making 3 bogeys and a birdie. And he'll shoot a 1 over par 72.
What a run through 7, 8 and 9. Birdie, eagle, birdie. 5 shots in 3 holes, and that's where you can really make an assault on the leaderboard through those holes at the closing stages. On the front 9 there, you turn down breeze. The 2 short par 5s and the short par 4.
And that's where it all unravelled for Blake, wasn't it? On the 9th, he made double on that very gettable par 5. Since then, he's had a bit of a struggle coming in. But that'll make dinner taste a little bit better. Nice birdie to finish, shooting 72 as well himself. Plenty to play for tomorrow, though, for these young pros. Order of merit points, and hopefully sneak a top 10, possibly even better, top 5 or so. Have a good round tomorrow.
Back to 17. This group of Dann, Wilson, and also Brielle Mapano. As Dan takes a look at this putt. down the slope from where his ball finished up in the back left corner, and then might turn slightly from right to left in that last third of the putt.
He's got the local member on his
He
bag,
does.
so he can use that local knowledge there.
No doubt Glenn Smyth just giving him a little advice as to what he thinks it may do, having putted from that position, I'm sure, a number of times. See that drop off on the right-hand side, which is why they had to be so cautious and play to the middle or left-hand side of the green, especially having found a divot off the tee as Charlie did.
And the wind looks like it's pushing quite hard left to right as well, so that probably is another reason why they've gone for the safer option.
Never got the read right there by any stretch. Thought that was going to be a double breaker, and it never came back left to right to begin with, and that really fooled our leader.
Yeah, that was a pretty good misread. One of the best ones I've seen, I think.
As far as mysteries go, that's not a bad one.
That's a pretty good one, yeah. But, you know, hold the next one, and it's just still another 2-putt, so it's okay.
A good thing there's a bit of a shoulder there on the bunker. Otherwise, that was flying off the green.
I was going to say, you mentioned that little runoff there. I was wondering if it was going to head that way. Peter Wilson's thinking, just changed my read on this one.
So our leader by 4, Charlie Dann, with a moment here. Par putt coming up. Now Peter Wilson. Similar line. See how he does. Coming back towards the hole, but not quite enough wheat bix today for Pete on a number of those putts. Doesn't look to be at one with the speed of the greens, does he? But at least he can smile about it. Now Charlie Dann. Boy, if you could make this somehow, you just run to the next tee. The clubhouse within sight. But it will be a bogey 5 on, again, one of the short par 4s here at Bonnie Doon, albeit from a divot in the fairway off the tee. He gives one back, still has a 3-shot buffer. And the next will be important now for him, won't it? Just mentally going into tomorrow. You'd like to just bounce back from that and put in a solid 4 at the next at worst, and just shake that off and say, okay, it was only a little hiccup. We've got lots of work to do tomorrow. And there it is again.
Nice.
Brielle Mapano. She's a putting machine.
She certainly is. I think the guys can take some tips off her later on. Maybe have a bit of a lesson on the practice putting green, I think. Although Charlie's putted pretty good today, I must admit. That's the first time we've seen him have a 3-putt. And as you say, it was a bit of an unfortunate bogey. Hitting a nice tee shot, middle of a divot. You can't do much about that, so you don't feel so bad about that one.
With the flag in, as he's done all day, Pete Wilson. Oh. Yes, it was wobbling around. Curious that he's leaving it in on a breezy day like this. We made mention of that right from the very get-go when we came on air some almost 3 hours ago. So another shot dropped for Peter Wilson. They'll head to the 18th, and Marcus Fraser is going to show us how to play it.
All right, 18th hole here. You got 235 after the downhill over the trap in the middle of the fairway. Obviously, you don't want to go right. There's no man's land out there. You don't want to be too far left either, because you've got that paper bark, I think, that can block you out for your second. So I think right edge of this first trap in the middle of the fairway is perfect line, straight down breeze. I think you'll see some really, some guys that really do hit it a long way maybe have a sniff at getting up near the front edge of the green here. But if that breeze turns around from the north, it completely flips the hole on its head. You know, all of a sudden that trap in the fairway is right in play, and it'll be a pretty strong second shot into the green. All about getting it on the right shelf here, straight down breeze. Big drop off to the left, drop off short, looks like out to the right the same, and over the back is going to be pretty quick coming back onto the green from over there. So we're just going to try and get on the right shelf for that back pin and go from there. 18th green here at Bonnie Doon. Short is obviously not great. Green's falling from the back to front, and both edges are coming in, so left and right. You don't want to, obviously on the left-hand side for a left pin, you're no man's land. On the right, you're in the same boat over on the right-hand side. Dinner always tastes better when you birdie the last. It could be eye fillet for dinner, or it could be a toasted sandwich, so hopefully it's eye fillet. No eye fillet for me.
It's as simple as that. And we'll see how Peter Wilson, Charlie Dann and Brielle Mapano fare here at the closing hole at Bonnie Doon. Ewan.
Certainly one of those holes was that it's all about the angles. You want to try and take it down that right-hand side, like Marcus Fraser said, and challenge the trees. Visually, it makes you want to bail out a little bit to the left, but like you said, it brings that paper bark into play and the wind down off the right-hand side. I think Charlie's got to be looking up the left-hand side of the fairway.
Fuck, I didn't know what he was.
Driven the ball well today, Charlie. This too, another good one.
Yep, got it.
Just up the left-hand side. Jordan Zunik made some ground in round 3 at the Doon. Here he is talking with Hermione Fitzgerald.
Jordan, another round in the 60s today. What was your game plan going out there?
Oh, look, warming up today obviously was feeling that southerly blowing again, just like yesterday, maybe not quite as strong. So I spoke to my caddy, Jono, and I just said to him, it's going to be another tough day. And obviously when you tee off the first here, 4 out of the first 5 holes are straight into that southerly. So my game plan was really just to hang in there those first 5 holes and score as best as I could, and then take advantage of the downwind holes coming home. So it was a really tough day out there and required a lot of persistence and a lot of patience.
But you also had a great round yesterday, 65 in those tough afternoon conditions. You obviously feel comfortable out there.
Yeah, look, I was a member here for a good 15 years growing up, so obviously know the course pretty well and played many times here in the wind, and you know, I just feel comfortable with where to put the ball. It's just a matter of putting the ball there and holding some putts, and obviously yesterday when I shot the 65, I had a few putts go in, so obviously that helps quite a lot.
Now, I understand you've been working with Nick O'Hearn over the last few months. How's that helped you?
Oh, I mean, Nick's great. He's got so much knowledge of the game, and you know, to be able to talk to him, and when I was down in Melbourne a few weeks ago, even play with him at the Moona Classic was really cool. And yeah, I mean, I just always bounce ideas off him, and he really helps me with not so much the technical side of the game, but more the creative side, the shot-making side, the course management side. He's just got such a great mind for golf, and you know, a lot of stuff when I'm out there, when you know, if the pressure's on, the things he teaches me really help.
Brilliant. Well, wishing you the very best of luck for tomorrow's round.
Thanks very much.
Jordan Zunik with Hermione Fitzgerald sits in outright second at the moment, 3 behind Charlie Dann, who's having a stroll up 18, having a chat with his playing partner Peter Wilson. And Jordan has a 2-shot buffer between himself and Dale Williamson, who's in joint third with Shae Wools-Cobb from Queensland. Well, let's see if the boys can shake off those bogeys at 17. That certainly wasn't in the game plan. The short par fours have bitten a few so far this week, and I dare say they'll play a big part in deciding the outcome of this event. We come back tomorrow for round 4. We'll be on air from 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You won't want to miss it. First time we've seen Bonnie Doon Golf Club, I dare say, on TV, going back to the early 70s when a professional event was last held here. Don't know that it was broadcast back then, so something, again, a bit of a first for the Sydney club this week.
And I've done a bit of research on the history. It's kind of ironic that being such a progressive event, you know, back in the day in the 1800s, it was one of the first clubs that allowed female golfers to play. As we look at Brielle Mapano playing a second shot into 18. Slow down. Yeah, they were one of the first clubs to allow the females to play at the club, and I think it's kind of ironic that it's at this golf club for that reason, because Bonnie Doon sounds like a very progressive club, even having the ladies' clinics, and Peter Jourdain sounds like he's doing a great job there.
Yeah, President Peter Jourdain. A nice bit of symmetry, as you mentioned, Christy. Now, Charlie Dann, his approach to the last.
132 to the flag was. The wind down off the right. It's going to be a tricky one to get it close with that flag there on the back right portion. Again, got to be looking some 10 to 15 feet left of the flag. I expect this to land somewhere just short of the tier. One bounce, let it release up. Pitching wedge on a very good line. Well done.
Gets it up there on the same level as the pin. Good look at birdie coming up for our leader by 3.
Yeah, it's a great response after that bogey on 17. 2 quality shots coming in from the perfect angle, really, up this left side.
Now Peter Wilson.
Just a metre closer, 131. First time he's had 2 hands on the club on the follow through for a while. You can see why. Good shot.
And he's going to give Charlie Dann a really good look at that read too.
That's always handy when your playing partner helps you out like that, if unintended. Let's take a look at some of the highlights courtesy of Cisco WebEx. Let's go back to the 7th, the down breeze, par 5. Charlie Dann, pin high, in the middle of the green, had this for eagle. He wouldn't make that, but he would tap that in to get things going on those scoring holes through the middle part of his round. Jack Thompson at the par 4 8th.
Jack had a lovely tee shot in here, 12 feet. And a nice little eagle 2 on the short par 4. And after Travis Smyth had a pretty ordinary first tee shot, this was his provisional. And have a look at this. 3-wood. Oh! That would have been a heck of a 3. An easy birdie. I wouldn't have even bothered looking for my first ball.
That would have been a birdie to remember. This for birdie for Charlie.
Fantastic putt. He's just rolled the ball well all day long off the putter.
The par 5 14th back into the breeze. Chance here for eagle across the apron and then swinging pretty sharply down the slope there. Didn't quite get that one right, but this one was set of cuts and it would be yet another birdie for the 28-year-old Queenslander, who's out in front and all alone at the moment at the par 4 18th.
Jordan Zunik, after missing the green a little right, had a very delicate chip. I built his short game up and he didn't disappoint, getting that one nice and close. Rolled that in for a nice par 4. And currently he sits 3 back of this man, Charlie Dann. On the short 15th, one of the shots of the day right here, Warren.
About to pull the string.
And just beautifully brought it back down off the down slope. And I thought it was in, but it just slipped out. I think it might have caught a tiny bit of the hole. And he had that tap in for birdie.
So close to an ace for our leader. There is the ball at the back of the green of Brielle Mapano. There's a terrific putter. We've seen that so far. And she has a Nick O'Hearn style short game herself.
I think she'd give Jordan a run for his money.
Definitely. That was very impressive. See all the grass around the ball. That's such a tricky shot from back there.
I was talking to Peter Lonard yesterday after his second round, who had some chipping issues himself at a stage. He said, Warren, if you can't chip in this game, you can't play professionally. Well, from what we've seen from Brielle Mapano, we know she can putt, we know she can chip. She may well have a future at this particular caper. One for the crowd, maybe, from Peter Wilson. Maybe the crowd a little restless behind him there.
He hasn't had much luck with the short stick today, so let's hope he can roll one in just to finish the day off nicely. A little left to right down the hill. It's a lovely putt. Tap in on the last is much better than that sneaky little 4 or 5 footer.
Do you think he said to Charlie Dan there, did you get a good look at that, mate?
I think that's exactly what he said.
I think so too.
He's had 2 really good playing partners today, right?
With
Brielle and Peter.
I think they've done a good job keeping him nice and calm.
Now our leader. Try and get that one shot that he dropped back on 17. This for a 4-shot cushion going into tomorrow. Good line. And it caught the edge but refused to drop. That's a nice response after the bogey on 17. And another very fine round for Charlie Dan, who's gone 64, 67, 66 today to be 16 under at Bonnie Doon Golf Club. And he will be the hot favourite going into tomorrow's final round. Brielle Mapano taps in. What a day for the junior player from just up the road at the Australian Golf Club. I'm sure she's had a wonderful time playing with Charlie Dan and Peter Wilson. And we are set for a thrilling final day tomorrow in the second edition of the Players Series. This one brought to you by Braithen Astor. And now on board as well, Cisco WebEx. It's great to have them here as sponsors as well. Charlie Dan leads by 3 from the local man, Jordan Zunig. Dale Williamson is there. Shae Wools-Cobb also at 11 under par. Jake McLeod along with Brett Rankin, Blake Windred, and the reigning now Australian amateur champion Lewis Dobbelaar there is at 10 under also. Elvis Smylie had his chances to get close today, but threw in a triple bogey 8 at the par 5 14th. That really hurts. And he's there with Jack Thompson at 9 under, along with Travis Smyth, who was just 1 back going into today's third round. Tomorrow we'll be back for the final round, and well, what a day we are set for. Charlie Dan set for the biggest moment in his golfing career.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles it. The emotions, the roller coaster that Sundays usually bring about. He's played some excellent golf today. It's one of the most controlled rounds I think I've seen from someone who hasn't won a golf tournament as of yet. So he's playing great golf. The weather will dictate a lot, and also from the players behind. There's a number of players, you know, within a bit of a range, and if they make a bit of a run, we'll see how he handles it.
He looks to be cool and calm, doesn't he, Christy?
He does, he does. I was super impressed with how relaxed he was today. I think you know, coming into tomorrow, he's just going to have to keep playing his own game. He obviously had a game plan in place and just do what he can to finish it off.
Well, make sure you join us tomorrow, as we mentioned, from 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. We'll see you tomorrow right here at Bonnie Doon Golf Club at the Players Series.